Yeah, alright. Oh, actually, let's not do... Let us do this. Yeah, there we go. That's correct. That's correct. That's good. I like that. Okay. So...
This stand-up comedian is being humiliated in front of the entire world and does not know how to make it stop. Akash Singh is mostly known as being the sidekick to Andrew Schultz on the Flagrant podcast. His wife Jasleen recently started creating content that many feel is shocking or distasteful coming from a married woman.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. So for context, I went to college from 2011 to 2016. I was popping my and living my best life in these white boy frat houses, and I had a roster of guys that I would rotate.
This is not
is she married when she's saying all this shit? Because that would suck, dude. If my spouse was saying that shit.
not a two-way street. This is a one-way street. His money is our money, and my money is my money.
And if you think those clips are bad, trust me, it gets so much worse. Like when she expressed how badly she wanted to sleep with her co-host's husband.
Would y'all ever have an orgy together with your husband? Ria, I'm actively trying to have an orgy because this couple is so good looking, and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. Maybe. I just know that Nav's is like at least 10 inches.
You would only be down for an orgy if
It's thick.
Your erection will be as strong as when you were in your teens, and you can last up to 7 times.
I turned off personal ads on fucking Google, and I don't know why now it's sending me all this erectile dysfunction shit.
Regularly
That's not a sign to anything.
Fantasizes sleeping with other men, films her arguments with Akash to post on TikTok, brags about being a gold digger, and actively refuses to kiss her husband in public, not even during his proposal. This is the...
That's awful, bro. It sucks seeing such a beautiful looking person be so ugly on the inside, man. That's like, you don't deserve your good looks. You're a horrible human being. You don't deserve to look that good.
The type of relationship that 99% of you watching pray you will never find yourself in. But anyone who criticizes Jasleen and the potential harmful influence she may have on couples, she calls them incel red pillars. Then again, it's somewhat understandable considering sometimes the right message can come from the wrong messenger. Because Akash was actually warned by the Fresh and Fit podcast that he was going to find himself in this exact type of situation. In the early 2020s, there was a digital uprising of self-proclaimed alpha males who claimed their traditional views of masculinity were directly conflicting with mainstream liberal ideologies. Guys like Myron Gaines and Walter Weeks of the Fresh and Fit podcast got viral attention talking about traditional gender roles, relationship dynamics, and what being a real man is.
I don't believe in any of that shit either.
And even though Akash and Andrew host a comedy podcast, they often dabble in more serious, broader social commentary, which led to them inviting on the Fresh and Fit guys to discuss some of their views on masculinity and relationships, many of which Akash disagreed with. He was particularly bothered by this phrase or relationship philosophy that Fresh and Fit used that said, pimp or be pimped.
One person in the relationship, whoever cares less, has the leverage, and we want the guy to always care less. We want the man to always have the leverage.
Childish as
and you guys might not like hearing that.
Childish.
But we truly feel.
I'm not. These aren't new beliefs, bro. You're not telling me some none of us have ever heard. We all heard this from fraternity guys in college. I'm saying there's room in and I don't have a problem with a lot of the stuff you say. I just think there is room for growth, and you guys' refusal to acknowledge it almost kind of proves it to me, confirms it to me that you guys are not willing to grow right now, and that's fine. That's some ego.
Throughout the pod, Andrew seemed to have no problem having a serious...
See, that guy seems like the type of guy that a lot of typical women would love to have. Come on, women. Why'd you let this snake take him from you?
Calm conversation about someone else's worldview despite not fully agreeing with it. But Akash was clearly much...
Oh, I burped. This is Patrick CC. I love this guy. Please go subscribe to him. Give him a like, too. His stuff's awesome. I love all these YouTube comment creators who make these documentaries. Put a lot of work into these things, and they're awesome.
much more upset with what they were saying. Most of the podcast, it didn't feel like he was listening, but rather just waiting for his turn to speak and assert his own personal philosophy on dating. However, Fresh and Fit were mostly known to say outlandish and straight up disrespectful things about women on a regular basis, so most people naturally sided with Akash's view of equity and equality in relationships, as well as understood his general frustration towards these guys. What we would later discover is that the reality of Akash's own personal relationship reflected the exact situation that Fresh and Fit were trying to warn him about. But before we dive deeper, I want to talk about one of the most disturbing industries in America, data brokers. They provide reports like this that have information about you, including your contact info, address, your relatives, and maybe even what car you drive. This stuff isn't just floating around by accident. It's being packaged, indexed, and sold legally right now. It's scary how easily this information can be found, and I'm not okay with it. You shouldn't be either. Thankfully, the sponsor of today's video, Aura, makes it easy to fight back. Aura finds the data brokers exposed.
Ever since I got, that video went viral and I got a big following, now I have so many people trying to get into my shit now, just because I guess it put myself out there, and so I had to start using like LastPass and other things like that, several other different authenticators, just because people somehow, I guess, got my meta information and found old passwords, I guess, and tried using those old passwords in my information. So I got like triple authentication now.
Exposing your info and automatically sends opt-out requests to get it taken down. You don't need to fill out dozens of forms because Aura handles it for you. Aura also monitors the dark web, alerts you if someone's trying to use your info for credit fraud, and comes with a VPN and password manager. If something does happen, your cover.com data broker relatively cordially made myself vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. Despite the episode ending relatively cordially, members of the Flagrant and Fresh and Fit podcast would trade shots at each other over the next few years. But tensions reached a boiling point when Myron of the Fresh and Fit podcast called out Akash and his wife Jasleen. He tweeted, "Akash Singh tried to lecture me about women years ago. Here's his wife making a mockery of him and herself on a podcast." And linked below was a full episode of the Main Character podcast hosted by Jasleen Singh and her friend Nahal Mawani. The women described their podcast as unfiltered girl talk and sells itself as being for the ones who live life.
Dude, have you ever seen the way how women, like, they talk? People say that, like, men are very, men are very, like, just vulgar. That's a good word to say. They say men are vulgar, dude. Listen to unfiltered girl talk. That, like, not the podcast, but just listen to women talk to each other, and it's crazy. There is no such thing as privacy between them. They will tell you every single detail. Oh, does he have a little pimple? Does he have a little, does he have a pimple on his, around his groin? Does he have, does one ball bigger than the other? They will fucking tell each other that. That's a fact. Like, it's crazy. I've seen some crazy shit. It's wild. There's no privacy. They all share every personal information with each other. And then once they wrong each other, they use all that privacy and personal information to attack each other.
Life like the plot revolves around them, because it does. This description on the surface is relatively harmless, but once you take a closer look at the podcast itself, you see that this description is extremely accurate. Two women who think they're the main characters of the world talking about themselves with absolutely no filter. One comment that stood out in this episode was where Jasleen discusses her and her husband's finances.
Man that doesn't want to have a joint bank account or isn't being transparent with his accounts or has separate accounts, that's a red flag. And I will say it again, because I know there's going to be already like incel troll mother. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street. His money is our money, and my money is my money. And look, have I only made $600 from content creating?
Wow, it went up $100 from last week.
But that's my money, okay?
I'm here with from UNFPA visiting the Emirati hospital in Rafah.
I think it's totally reasonable for couples to have one shared account and then each have their own separate account. Yeah.
Just so we're clear, no, that's actually a red flag, because I know so many girls in my life personally that have been with guys that weren't transparent about money, and they ended up being terrible in other aspects, and like people ended up breaking up in divorces, etc., etc. So that is actually my number one. They must be generous with their finances from day one.
For context, Jasleen is not a celebrity by any means.
Go to the bathroom. But basically her opinion is that if he's not offering his entire bank account to you, then that's a red flag. Be right back. All right, I'm back.
She does not have a job of her own and has only been able to build her internet following thanks to her husband supplementing her lifestyle. And this is not a dig at her at all. She talks about this a lot in her content, and some even think she brags about it.
Okay, hi, my name is Jasleen, and these are things that I do as a stay-at-home wife. Or sorry, I don't do. I don't cook, I don't clean, and I don't do my husband's laundry. I feel that I don't have to do things to justify or prove my worth that I'm allowed to do this.
Okay, but like, if you don't work and if he's providing, I'm not saying that that's like a woman's job. I'm just saying if you're the significant other and your partner is the one who's providing support for you, I mean, the very least you could do is clean the house while they're not home, or do something to help out, right? It's like this chick wants to just be babied her entire life. And I'm assuming she has been babied most of her life. And so we'll see how that goes when she turns 40.
Now, some may interpret this as just jokes, but she also frequently posts day in my life videos where she romanticizes her routine of doing essentially nothing.
This chick is 100% cheating on her husband, by the way. There's absolutely no way she's not cheating on her husband. There's no way. There's no way she's not.
Nothing all day long.
I actually do this. I just do this. Like, I sit here. This.
Now, if this is the agreement this couple has in their relationship, then that's fine. It is what it is. Being a stay-at-home wife or mother is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, but it's the...
Or a stay-at-home... I'm not one of those guys. Stay-at-home husbands, nothing wrong with that either. I mean, in the military, you got guys... And that's like, whenever the guy's the dependent, everyone's like, fuck yeah, hell yeah. Your wife is the one who's in the... Or your wife or your husband's the one that's in the military, and you're just chilling, right? Hell yeah. I mean, it's nothing. Stay-at-home husband or wife. Doesn't matter, man. That's fine. But at least, like, if you're a stay-at-home wife or husband, at least, like, do something for the home. You're not a stay-at-home and do nothing husband or wife.
The aggressive tone and entitlement she gives off that has earned her the label of a gold digger, something that she subtly implies to be.
Let's look up her history. I guarantee you, like, she was... I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just showing my prejudices and my biases. I need to shut up.
Oh, like, people are like, oh, that's gold digging, or that's something. No, it's not.
Okay, then I'm digging.
Yeah.
If that wasn't bad enough, Jasleen frequently discusses other men that she would like to cheat on her husband with.
Because she is cheating. There's no way she's not. She's cheating.
I never watched that show, but like he's on my hall pass list.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Chase Crawford, Jacob Elordi, Austin Butler.
Now, some people see the whole celebrity crush thing as unserious because the celebrity feels so distant, so unreachable, that it's basically the same thing as fantasizing about a fictional character. Like, it's not.
I learned that ChatGPT works best with detailed prompts.
I mean, I'd agree
but
with
I hate
that.
typing them. So instead,
Not really.
But how fast she had an answer for that shit, that's kind of crazy, you know? Like that, she had a very quick answer. Who would you sleep with? Oh, I have a list. That means she's been sitting there thinking about it for a while. I mean, if you ask me, like I'd have to think about it. What celebrities would I don't know. Like I'd have to think about that. The fact that she had that shit ready to go, it's kind of some evidence right there that she's been thinking about cheating on you, homie. And if you think about cheating, you're gonna cheat. 100%.
Cheating because in their minds the situation is so unrealistic that it becomes harmless. Others see this as straight up openly admitting they'd hook up with someone else that wasn't their husband because celebrities are just people too, after all.
Yeah, and especially because she's just got her. I mean, you got to think about it. If she, how many followers does she have? What's their name? What's this chick's name? Jasleen. Okay. What's it? It's a weird ass name. Yeah, I mean, okay, she only has 34,000. Okay, you don't have a whole lot. I was gonna say, okay, I'm not logging it. If she had a lot of followers, like a lot, then I'd say, uh-oh. Because then that means Austin Butler or any of these celebrities could be sliding into her DMs. Like, for real. But, I don't know. maybe I'm just, I don't know. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm an idiot.
Oh.
That, him in that movie, like, did kind of, like, rewire my sexual...
But is that your type, Ranbir Kapoor?
Not anymore, but, like, he was so hot and tall, and he's, like him in that...
Else that wasn't their husband because celebrities are just people too, after all.
That, him in that movie, like, did kind of, like, rewire my sexual...
But is that your type, Ranbir Kapoor?
Not anymore, but, like, he was so hot and tall, and he's, like Mera Naam Bunny, like Bugs Bunny, and I was like, okay.
But Jasleen didn't just openly fantasize about sleeping with other famous men. She quite literally admitted to wanting to sleep with her co-host husband, Nav.
Would y'all ever have an together with your husband?
Rhea, I'm actively trying to have an because this couple is so good looking, and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never declines. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband.
No, I kind of love it, but I'm like, us for it? Okay, maybe.
I just know that Nav's dick is like at least 10 inches.
You would only be down for an orgy if
or it's thick. It's thick.
The original question was a joke about all four of them sleeping together. However, Jasleen only talks about Nav and never mentions her own husband, even excluding him from the hypothetical and talking about a
This chick just straight up saw her husband as a stepping stone to get famous somehow, I guess. That would suck, man. Your significant other openly talking about the dick size of someone that they fantasize about and how often. How could you sleep with your significant other after this? Because I'd just be constantly thinking about, like, they're fantasizing when we're having sex, they're just fantasizing about this other person. You know, that really sucks, man.
Person situation. Nahal clearly attempts to steer the conversation back to the dynamic being four people to respect Akash, while Jasleen continues to fantasize about Nav. Once again, you could argue that Jasleen is just joking. When you joke about something over and over again, especially in a short period of time, you start to wonder if there's a little bit of truth to that. Even while talking about her husband in a positive light, Jasleen can't help but imply that Nav is a better husband than her own. To make matters
Is there a single
worse,
I want to know if there's a single picture. We're going to look that up here in a second. There's a single picture of these two actually kissing on the lips, because everything I've seen is her just doing, like, she looks disgusted by her own husband.
Minutes later in the podcast, they bring their husbands on, where Akash is forced to sit next to the man his wife was just fantasizing about having sex with. And she once again brings up having a threesome with Nahal and Nav while Akash is sitting right there.
You know, and I'm not one to judge. If couples like getting freaky, you can get freaky, go for it. You know, I don't give a shit. My issue, but like, that's insulting.
There.
I'm a hustler who scams a little bit. I'm not a scammer who hustles.
I'm not gonna lie, that was sexy, and that's why I'm actively trying to have an orgy.
Even at the end of the episode, Jasleen once again, completely unprovoked, states that she wants to sleep with Nav.
On the main character pod, we love you, we hate you,
I guess
we respect you.
Dude. I'm sorry, buddy. Oh my god.
You, but I actually love you in one of all of
You would be hard-pressed to make a compelling argument that Jasleen is only joking when she brought up this topic multiple times.
Hey you, it's me again.
God, man.
Are you still wondering how
That
much it will cost
sucks,
you to start up a company in the UAE?
And when we get to hear from Akash directly about his perspective of their relationship, you almost get this sense of relief from him that he finally can express how he really feels about Jasleen's behavior.
When she's running 2 hours late to a dinner reservation that I worked really hard to get, and
Dude, you better have gotten a fucking prenup, bro. You better have gotten a prenup. Because honestly, I almost would be shocked. If I wouldn't be that shocked if she's maybe trying to like almost cause a divorce and then clean him out, because she clearly used him as a stepping stone to try to get some sort of online clout and to use his money because she doesn't do anything.
And then I'm like, baby, we're running late, and she's like, are you kidding me? Do you know I don't give a if we're late to this dinner? They're lucky to have us. And I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing. #1 restaurant in the New York Times. You know how hard a reservation
She's like, call them right now. Call them right now. This is not a fun session.
I'm not even joking. This is how main character I am. I was like, Sema will be lucky that I would grace them with my presence tonight.
Jasleen seems to think that being the main character means being as entitled and rude as possible, with no regard for anyone else's personal feelings. Stories like
This is someone who's never had any sort of adversity in their life. My guess is she's always been a very attractive and beautiful woman. She is. She's a very attractive and beautiful woman. But on the outside, on the inside, holy shit.
like these demonstrate that Jasleen's selfish demeanor isn't just played up for laughs on a podcast, but exists within her real life as well. Akash comes off visibly frustrated when talking about his wife's toxic behavior, turning it into a therapy session for him where he can finally let out his pent-up rage.
When I say I'm tired, she can't just let me be tired. I travel, I work, and I'm not... She can't just let me be tired. I travel, I work, and I'm very blessed to do what I do.
I work really bad insomnia.
I have really bad insomnia. I work 335 days a year. I'm so blessed to do what I do. This is not a complaint. But when I tell my wife I'm tired, I want her to say, I'm sorry, baby. I understand. That must be exhausting, buying me all these things. Instead, she goes, so am I. And if I dare open my mouth to go, what the did you do that made you tired? Now it's a problem. Now it's a fight. So I gotta sit there.
I went to Pilates.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Now, there definitely is a humorous delivery to the story that Akash is telling, but it does seem to be rooted in genuine problems he has with his relationship. Jasleen displays an extremely selfish and entitled mindset, both on the podcast and in their real life. Are we really meant to believe that all of this is just funny, just jokes? Well, ironically, that's basically how Akash justifies putting up with this behavior.
It's adorable when she does these things. Like, I just look at it and here's the rule in our marriage. It's been unspoken, but now we're just saying it now that we're both making content. If it's funny, we're good. Like, if it's funny, and if it's not funny and it hurt the other person's feelings, you apologize, you move on.
Any logical person understands this is an extremely slippery slope, because literally anything can be passed off as a joke or an attempt to make a joke. Like this video she posted to TikTok, where you can hear them both chuckling from time to time, but it's clear they are both frustrated and quite literally just documenting themselves having an argument.
Do you know what my husband just tried to do to me?
Yeah.
We're leaving. Shut up. We're leaving in Paris in 5 hours, so tensions are a little high. Yeah. We also just redid our closet.
This is all her closet.
Our closet.
Now. She took the whole closet.
Which we already agreed upon.
And now she's saying she doesn't have no space.
And now I'm saying I don't have space for all my... I don't have space for... Can you guys show?
Yeah.
I don't have space for all my Indian suits because I like my dresses spaced out. Do you know what Akash just did?
Here you go. Watch this. Oh my God.
I'm not doing that.
Space.
What an entitled fucking bitch.
I'm not doing that.
Holy shit.
So what do you want to do? You want to buy a separate house with all hanger space? No.
In another video, she documents her being stressed out about packing for a lavish vacation in the wealthiest area of America, which is only a 3-hour drive from their apartment.
Okay, so me and my husband are supposed to
Look at those fucking veneers. You see how big those damn teeth are?
leave tonight to go
Look at that. Some fucking chompers, dude.
to the Hamptons for 2 weeks, and I haven't even packed anything yet. So I was just like, I'm really stressed. Like, I don't want to go tonight because I still have to pack. I haven't even started. I have to finish my laundry.
Really, I know this is a really hard day. What did you do again?
Oh, today?
Yeah.
I had a mani-pedi.
Oh, wow, that's so stressful.
Wait, and I had a massage.
How stressful to go to the Hamptons for 2 weeks. Oh, the Hamptons, Hawaii.
Akash puts up with Jaslene's selfish behavior and entitlement because he thinks they are just cute jokes. But it clearly isn't just jokes. Jasleen even says that Akash's birthday is...
No, his self-worth is tied into this chick. That's why he's still with her. They're not just jokes.
Her least favorite day of the year because it's the only day she can't be mean to him. Day is her least, but it clearly isn't just jokes. Jasleen even says that Akash's birthday is her least favorite day of the year because it's the only day she can't be mean to him.
It's fucked up.
Okay, May the 4th is Akash's birthday. And
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Yeah, and every year I dread it because I have to be nice the whole day, and I have to get him something, and I have to also be nice and do like acts of kindness.
She said
My least favorite day of the year is my husband's birthday because that's when I have to pretend to be a caring human being and not a fucking leech.
You know she said that twice? You know she said that twice?
She's really not okay with it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's really hard.
For her, it's really hard.
For me.
She needs to just, you know.
You better have signed a fucking prenup, dude.
Listen, I'm just used to being treated like a princess all day, every day, so that one day that I don't...
Oh, what torture.
Can my dad go from XL to
It's the
M
most insane
with
shit, man.
walking by Holly?
Yeah.
Akash is the Indian Will Smith.
Yeah. That's a good. That's good. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Where the girl Frisch and Fett warned you not to marry. Yeah, that's true, man. He did tell you that. Those guys are weirdos. But hold on, I'll be right back. Alrighty, sorry about that.
Bro, Akash married the girl Fresh and Fit warned you not to marry. She's the embodiment of what Fresh and Fit said to avoid. Akash's rejection of Fresh and Fit's ideology now looked more like a defensive response born out of insecurity, considering her previous comments about her cheating on her husband, the unapologetically consumerist lifestyle that he funds, and the clear unsettling tension she has with Akash made many question what her true motives were in the relationship.
What else does she provide other than looking good to the relationship? You know, maybe like, does she provide? Maybe she provides really good emotional. I'm being serious. Maybe she's a really good emotional provider behind closed doors. Maybe she just acts like a complete bitch in public. I mean, that's possible. Maybe it's just a persona, and maybe she really is a sweet and caring person outside of this. But if this is all an act, she should get into acting. She should call SAG.
Many viewed Jasleen as a gold digger who had no actual emotional or romantic tie to the man that she married, and these sentiments would only grow stronger as people took notice of a very strange pattern of behavior, that being her tendency to avoid kissing Akash, and even straight up dodging his kisses when he tries to initiate.
I don't know. She's a good liar.
Then she's a good liar.
That's a friend that lies for you and not to you.
And this was not just a one-time occurrence. Entire compilations have been created showing just how often Jasleen avoids kissing her own husband. To make matters worse, not only did she dodge a kiss from Akash during their marriage proposal, but she also dodged his kiss a second time when he proposed to have their vows renewed. But Jasleen says it's nothing more than her being uncomfortable with public displays of affection.
I'll also respond.
Bullshit! She's uncomfortable with public displays of affection, but will straight up talk about her best friend's husband's dick. And how she fantasizes about how thick and long it is. But she's uncomfortable with PDA? Fuck off.
On to the people saying I don't like my husband because I turned away from a kiss. I've never liked PDA. Physical touch, I find it really overstimulating.
What was she saying earlier in the video?
And so it's something I actually work through with my husband because that's his love language.
Now, having issues with PDA are extremely common. However, it is worth considering all of the other things Jasleen has no problem doing on camera. She's constantly talking about sex on her podcast and on her TikTok.
What if I told you your next semester could be in Paris or Madrid? At Schiller.
Not to mention the fact that she posted an entire video where she is clearly not wearing any pants, getting treatment for a bruise she got during sex. And as if it couldn't get worse, she also flirts with the doctor.
Also, I heard you're single. Is that true?
Go back to treatment.
So she has no problem posting herself having very graphic conversations, half-naked videos of herself, and flirting with other men, but she draws the line at giving her own husband a kiss. Just doesn't really make sense. Not only did Jasleen look extremely shady, it now seemed like she was perfectly comfortable with lying about her relationship to make herself look better, and it turns
That sucks, man. I feel so bad for this fucking dude.
out she wasn't just lying to her small audience, she was also lying to her own husband as well. Now, Jasleen constantly claiming that she has main character energy is particularly interesting. This is supposed to mean that you are liberated from others' judgment and confident in yourself. But for some, saying you have main character energy is just an acceptable way to admit that you are a narcissist. And narcissists tend to lie about everything, which is why many refuse to believe Jasleen when she said that she was a virgin before meeting Akash. Akash has previously stated that he and Jasleen were both virgins before they met.
My wife also hadn't had any partners, so that helped us connect a lot more.
But she was just talking about how in college she was popping her pussy.
Let me ask you this: do you believe her?
If you've seen her, then it's hard to believe. I remember I was just like, what?
Jasleen, in a separate podcast, made the same statement.
I was at the point where I was ready, because I don't know if you told her, because I was.
Oh no, I didn't know you were a virgin too.
So I was a virgin too when I met him.
However, posts made by Jasleen herself tell a completely different story, like the one where she reminisces on the days she spent in college, passing herself around to other men.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. So for context, I went to college from 2011 to 2016. I was popping my and living my best life in these white boy frat houses, and I had a roster of guys that I would rotate.
Now, technically, she doesn't say that she was sleeping with them, but it is heavily implied. And despite many feeling like they caught her in a lie, she surprisingly doubled down in a response to the criticism, claiming that she did in fact lose her virginity to Akash. Even though Jasleen has disabled the comments on her social media, preventing anyone from criticizing her on her own page, she still sees the backlash, and her justification for acting the way she does online just makes...
Well, I mean, it's possible that maybe she never actually had actual intercourse during college. Maybe she was just a throat goat on campus.
Makes everything so much worse. Jasleen has made a few public responses on her TikTok where she claims that she is being canceled, which is funny because she has nothing to be canceled from. She has no show to be fired from, no brand deal to lose, no job.
Yeah, maybe if Akash is the Indian Will Smith and she's the Indian Nancy Reagan.
No platform that anyone could realistically take away from her. In the last few years, cancel culture has become such a buzzword that people will use as a shield against any form of criticism. If an influencer or celebrity frames their criticism as, oh, they're just trying to cancel me, a certain group of viewers will immediately jump to their defense without doing any research. They hear the word cancel and assume it's just another example of people online trying to ruin someone's life for no reason. But Jasleen is the one who decided to blurt out all of this stuff about her relationship for the internet, and she's being criticized for it. It's that simple. But she mostly chalks up all the negative attention to just coming from red pillars and incels trying to cancel her because she doesn't fit the traditional wife role.
When you're a simple little boy, it just breaks their brain that a girl can like just be loved for simply existing. My husband loves me for simply existing. I don't have to cook or clean to justify my worth.
Now, nobody is saying that she needs to cook and clean and fit some 1950s idea of a trad wife to have value. The issue is that publicly romanticizing other men, joking about cheating, and openly fantasizing about life before your husband isn't empowerment, it's disrespect. It's not about gender roles, it's about basic partnership and companionship. And her mentality and behavior influencing others is potentially harmful to relationships or even single people all around the world. Her second response came a few days later, after people had thoroughly scrubbed through her digital footprint. Jasleen should have realized at this point that it was more than just incels coming after her, but she does make an interesting point about the criticism she was receiving.
Why are you mad if me and my husband are cool with each other, if we both make jokes at each other's expense? The difference is my husband will go on stage and say whatever the he wants about me. No one has anything to say. It's like, oh my God, it's so funny, it's so relatable. But then I come on TikTok and I make jokes and now you have a problem because I don't have a mic in my hand?
Are there any videos of him wanting to fuck other chicks? Like him talking about on his stand-up, like how much he just wants to fuck Sydney Sweeney? I don't think is a good comparison, but all right.
Ironically, yes. If she did have a microphone in her hand, it would be way different. If she was trying to make it as a stand-up comic and her material focused around her being a gold digger or cheating on her husband.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus.
All
And
the
this is your
ads!
brain when you're in the zone. But getting
Oh my
in the
God!
zone.
People would likely assume that she's being self-deprecating and not to take her as seriously, because when you are on stage with a mic, people understand that it is a form of performance art that was thought about, written, practiced, and perfected over time. But she isn't selling herself as a comedian. Her podcast is branded as Unfiltered Girl Talk, which implies that Jasleen is offering her honest thoughts and feelings while present. Not to mention that the same things she tries to pass off as jokes, she also attempts to justify as valid opinions she genuinely has. Also, her TikTok is quite literally a behind-the-scenes look at her real life and real dynamics with her husband. She is picking and choosing what should be considered as jokes and what is serious to, again, deflect criticism. This is likely the exact same thing she does to Akash in their personal relationship, which is why he doesn't even realize he is being disrespected and humiliated. Akash certainly complains about his relationship while doing stand-up.
My wife is objectively gorgeous. Me? No. So that's what you gotta do. I gotta work my ass off, and then every time she starts looking at me and she starts assessing my...
Okay, so she has 169,000 followers on TikTok. So that's enough that I think that she could show up on the feed of one of these celebrities that she talked about wanting to fuck, and I mean, obviously there's nothing that would stop them from sliding into her DMs.
beauty, I just throw it back at that. Chest pass! I'm telling you, ladies, if you have a good guy, do you know what he needs? A vacation. You hear it all the time. A relationship is hard work. Marriage is a job. Well, every good job gives you 2 weeks vacation. And if you have a good man, I promise you I know what his dream vacation is. Because every good guy's dream vacation is your vacation. Go somewhere. Go anywhere you want.
But in a more personal setting, like a podcast for example, Akash is significantly more graceful when talking about his wife.
She just says everything she's feeling at whatever moment. It's done. She just tells me when she's pissed off at me. It just all comes out. It took me a while to appreciate that because initially I'm like, why are you so combative? What's this about? God damn, stop fighting with me all the time. And then I was like, oh no, she just lets it out and she's free. All these little social niceties that we all do where we just lie.
Bro took the simping crown from Will Smith. Feeling the pressure from all the backlash, Akash started interrupting his stand-up performances to talk about social media drama. As one fan wrote, I went to the 7 p.m. show last night and it was extremely awkward. He was clearly not processing the situation well and he ended the set 20 minutes early. He spent the first 10 to 15 minutes of the set talking about the controversy, how his wife has been loyal to him, and everything she has been saying is just jokes and is fine with him. No one in the crowd knew how to take this information, and I truly believe that the majority of fans there had no idea any of this was going on. This only made him spending like 1/3 of his set on it even more awkward. He then proceeded to jokingly call his wife a whore every time he brought her up, which was just not helping. I think it ruined his whole set and the mood never recovered, which I think is why he ended early. Other fans recalled a similar experience, and they all truly believing the singer started interrupting.
She just lets it out combative. What's this about? God damn, stop fighting with me all the time. And then I was like, oh no, she just lets it out and she's pissed off at me. It just all comes out. It took me a while to appreciate that because initially I'm like, why are you so combative? What's this about? God damn, stop fighting with me all the time. And then I was like, oh no, she just lets it out and she's free. All these little social niceties that we all do where we just lie.
Bro took the simping crown from Will Smith. Feeling the pressure from all the backlash, Akash started interrupting his stand-up performances to talk about social media drama. As one fan wrote, I went to the 7 p.m. show last night and it was extremely awkward.
He was clearly not okay.
He was clearly not processing the situation well and he ended the set 20 minutes early.
I only found out about his wife the day of the show, and honestly, seeing that set basically be his therapy moment about it, I am way more suspicious of controversy than before. This is clearly something he's insecure about, even though he tried way too hard to make it seem like he wasn't. Yeah, the dude's obviously hurting from this shit, man. Clearly.
He spent the first 10 to 15 minutes of the set talking about the controversy, how his wife has been loyal to him, and everything she has been saying is just jokes and is fine with him. No one in the crowd knew how to take this information.
Yeah, nothing says I'm fine with this more than talking about it in your comedy set.
I truly believe that the majority of fans there had no idea any of this was going on. This only made him spending like 1/3 of his set on it even more awkward. He then proceeded to jokingly call his wife a whore every time he brought her up, which was just not helping. I think it ruined his whole set and the mood never recovered, which I think is why he ended early. Other fans recalled a similar experience, and they all seemed to share the sentiment that Akash was clearly rattled by the ordeal and his performance was suffering as a result. One fan even claimed that he asked beforehand if the crowd had heard about the drama and was relieved to find out most of them hadn't. Someone else recorded a recent performance Akash did in which he tries to explain why he thinks his wife isn't what the internet says she is.
These narratives, you will call your wife a gold digger and all these other things, it's a shame. So I'm going to tell one story that I have never even told her, honestly. My wife and I met in 2014. I was not making much money. I was getting $25 a night doing stand-up. I was on MTV shows that paid dog shit money. But then in 2018, I went flat broke. 34 years old, I probably made $4,000 that entire year. And we couldn't even afford the living room we lived in New York City. Me and her sleeping on a hardwood floor. I'm 34 years old. She's 25 years old. I'm looking at this girl like, man, you could go be with an Indian who's a doctor. I have nothing to give her. It's just a light jacket. It's like October. We have nothing. So I hand her the jacket, and then she said, what's this for? I said, you can use that as a pillow. And then she goes, well, what are you going to use? And I said, I'll figure it out. She handed me back the jacket. She goes, you take this. And then she laid with her head on my chest and her arm around me the entire night. And I remember thinking in that moment, I don't know if I'm going to be able to marry this girl because I'm so broken. I'm in such a bad place and it's a dark time in my life. But I know I will never find a girl that loves me this much ever again.
Now this paints the narrative of a girl who was loyal to the core to a man who
Hitting the gym won't improve erectile function.
What's up with
Most
all these
cases
goddamn
of erectile
ads,
dysfunction
man?
are related to weak health.
was at his lowest moment and therefore deserves the fruits of his success. But there is a few key details that he left out, because shortly after this story that Akash explained of them sleeping on the floor, Jasleen did actually leave him, but then came back to him when his career was revived. Akash says that he made nearly no money during the first 4 years of their relationship and then went broke in 2018. However, they both have publicly claimed that he was making a six-figure salary in 2017.
He was getting a lot of work from MTV. Like his first show was Wildin' Out, and then he did Guy Code, and he was just like on a bunch of MTV shows, and he was able to like reach a six-figure salary, which at the time was really huge for us. But then,
so I'm assuming she's the reason why he was broke then, because if he was making six figures, I mean, you can be he wasn't impoverished. He was broke, and so I mean, I've been broke. I've never been in poverty. You know, luckily, I've never been in poverty, but I've been broke. And basically, it just means that all your money and shit is tied up to debt and other stuff. It means, like, you ain't got no disposable income because everything is tied up to shit. So you're broke. You have nothing that you have nothing disposable. Well, based on what I'm saying with her, man, she might be the reason why he was broke. Okay?
in 2018, like all of the opportunities started to dry up. He was kind of aging out of the MTV bracket, and he wasn't really getting any attention from the industry. So he was pretty much losing all his income. And at the same time, I was working a really toxic job with like a toxic manager and like working till 2 a.m. And it just caused a lot of stress on our relationship.
I had like 7 MTV shows. I wasn't making crazy money. I was making like low 6 figures. But my girlfriend at the time, she moved into our place, and then all of a sudden, end of 2017, all the shows started suddenly getting canceled one by one. So I went from making like a low 6 figures, nothing crazy, but 6 figures in 2017 to 2018, probably making like $4,000 for the whole year. I'm not even exaggerating.
Jasleen actually did end up dumping Akash during this dark time, sparked by what she claims was a fight between her and Akash's mother. Then the two eventually got back together months later, and conveniently enough, Akash's Flagrant podcast was just starting to blow up and was making $10,000 a month in Patreon revenue. Akash and Jasleen finally decided to sit down and address all of the backlash on the Flagrant podcast. Andrew and the guys created this trial where they pretended to investigate Jasleen and ask her all of the tough questions that the internet is demanding answers to. What's funny is that everyone seems to be enjoying this besides Akash. He is easily the least animated one throughout the pod and seems like he just wants to get this thing over with. Now, the two didn't say anything that we haven't heard before. Jasleen basically chalks everything up to being just a joke or exaggerated because most people don't contextualize her background and upbringing.
Have you ever heard of the repressed Catholic schoolgirl?
Never.
I was, yeah, you know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was.
His Catholic school was in his living room. Imagine how repressed he was.
I was a repressed Indian girl that I didn't even watch Jersey Shore in high school because I felt it to be too inappropriate. So when I got to college, I'm like, oh my God, I can dress however I want. I can do whatever I want.
You can have a roster of frat boys.
But
what does a roster mean?
So it didn't actually translate to a roster. It just meant like two guys I was talking to and flirting with at the same time. That's it.
That's all.
Yeah.
And when you say hooking up, I think people
When
think you
I
meant...
mean hook up, I just meant making out. Again, like everything I say is so amplified and hyperbolic because it's so like incongruous
Making out with penis, maybe.
to who I actually am as a person.
Right. So you're saying you're a big old prude.
Yeah, literally.
Throughout the episode, Akash is kind of bullying and teasing her constantly as if this is to prove that they do it to each other and it's not just a one-sided thing, even though on podcasts before this, he is typically more graceful towards her and is not just outright calling her a bitch.
She's actually made a non-cooking ass.
God, you can make that?
Schema. This,
Really?
This useless.
You can't say this with all due respect, please. You gotta say with all due respect.
What?
I guess it's your
Well,
wife.
I thought the internet was right about everything.
No.
Golding a woman.
Yeah. Okay, so you can make all these things.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting moments was when the two discussed her bringing up and being so persistent about having an with her co-host's husband, and again she said it was just a joke, but in the middle of that she remained firm in her stance that she was a virgin, and even Andrew was surprised.
So if she had a body count, I would have been like, hey, cut the. But because she doesn't, and I know how like innocent she actually is.
Oh, you are a virgin? That's real?
I was
You
a
were a
virgin
virgin?
until I met him, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't, that body count thing, I'd have been like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Because I would have been insecure about it. But I can be, not that I'm so secure, but with that joke, I'm like so secure.
Oh, I
know.
absolutely would feel insecure.
And I think stupidly, I was like, oh, it's all of us. It's not like
Yeah,
talking.
that is stupid.
Yeah.
I got a peanut butter. Give me a sec. Again, I'm sorry. All right, my fault. I need a catheter. Okay.
But the 87,000 dislikes on the video says that the viewers were not exactly believing whatever they were saying.
Is this before? Because I don't see dislikes. Was this before dislikes got removed, or can you show them? Is there a way to turn them on?
Are they trying to convince us or themselves? Akash still believes her body count is 1.
Yeah, right.
At this point, someone needs to interview one of those frat boys.
No shit.
The fake laughing is almost corporate level. That being said, it seems like Akash genuinely believes his wife is out of his league. He said publicly that she is far more attractive than any woman he thought he could ever get. When you feel lucky just to be with someone, you start letting things slide that would normally hurt you. You convince yourself the jokes don't mean anything, the disrespect isn't real, and the public...
It's the type of shit that's going on with iDubbbz and Anissa. iDubbbz never dated someone before, so she comes along and ruins his life.
Humiliation is just content. Ghislaine behaves like someone who assumes she'll be forgiven no matter what, so she has no reason to self-reflect on her behavior because her husband doesn't push back. You can only see where this will lead. Eventually, Akash won't be able to supply her demands. The vacations aren't enough. The house isn't big enough. The clothes aren't expensive enough. The bedroom activities aren't enough. And that stuff is hard enough to deal with privately. Now he has to run the risk of her expressing all of these frustrations publicly on her TikTok and podcast. It seems that Ghislaine is a product of a generation that confuses on-screen dysfunctionality with personality, treating toxic characters as an aesthetic role model with main character energy.
Like, the closest character to me is probably Maddie from Euphoria.
Maddie from Euphoria is a character best known for her engagement in toxic relationships and selfish personality, oftentimes emotionally harming other people to get what she wants. So it's interesting that Ghislaine says she could only act as Maddie because she can only act like herself. Ghislaine does not see Maddie as a problematic teenage girl. She sees her as a diva and an icon, and resonates with her as a result. If someone has a problem with her behavior, then they're just an incel, or a red pillar, or a misogynist. But if the pushback comes from someone that she loves, like her friend or her husband, then, oh, it's just jokes. It kind of reminds me of what's called the narcissist's prayer. That didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. During their initial podcast appearance, Fresh and Fit discussed the concept of men having leverage in their relationships. And while their opinions were a lot more skewed to men having the financial and emotional power over their partner, the core idea underneath it is much simpler: respect. Any normal person understands that a relationship is supposed to be 50-50, which doesn't have to mean equal income. It means equal effort, equal care, equal consideration. But in this marriage, Jasleen holds all the emotional power because Akash fears she will just leave him for someone else. And the truth is, she could. She could get someone more successful, more handsome, and he will deal with all of her shortcomings. At some point, Akash will have to draw a line, and only then will he truly figure out if his wife is just joking or not. I can only hope that this type of love never finds any of you. This relationship dynamic is eerily similar to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, who put all of their extremely nonsensical and strange ways of justifying their broken marriage on full display. But if you want to hear more about that, check out this video.
Yeah, you know, I just, I'm gonna be on you with you, Akash. I think that's your name, right? Oh, there we go. There's me. Hey. To be honest with you, Akash, you know, I think there's a good book that you should look into. I found it on Amazon. It looks... Oh, shit, that's the wrong one. My bad. I meant this one. I think it's, based on the reviews, it seems pretty decent. But I don't know, man. It could be a great marriage from the inside. Maybe you guys have just known each other so much. These two have just known each other for so long that they have a weird dynamic. But not gonna lie, from the outside, it looks pretty bad. I'm just gonna say, I do smack my lips a lot. I'm sorry. What is this? Items apology.
Why don't you step into the saloon here for a little chit-chat?
When was
I've
this?
noticed we've got ourselves a little bit of a sour hootenanny on our hands here after my latest video on the iDub situation. And in
years
the
ago.
cyber...
The fuck? Yeah, Alex Karp is insane. Fuck off. I don't know, let's look. Let's see what else we got. But thank you to Patrick CC for that wonderful content. Okay. Yes. Channel 5. Let's see this shit.
Lived in a black neighborhood for quite a while. I saw how they treated white people. It's not very good. And yet all the hate is on white males.
You would get beat up if you said something racial to a black person.
You saw that happen?
Yes.
They said something like, man, the hood ain't the hood anymore, as in like they were unhappy with my response.
Almost exclusively white communities exist all around the United States off of paper merely because of socioeconomics, and that if you are wealthy enough, everyone who becomes wealthy enough will buy into a more or less white-only gated community. But I would not be able to afford that outside of, you know, working my entire life to build up a bunch of businesses, but I would like to have kids.
I want my kids to be taught that their ancestors did great things, not that they were the villains of history.
Correct, and Arkansas is nice. As far as I know, the laws are you just need to let...
So you only want to, whitewash your history. I mean, there were... white people's ancestors did great things and they did horrible things, just like everyone's ancestors, man. I mean... I think these people get fucking offended when people hear the objective truth about shit like slavery and colonization. It wasn't because they were white, it was because they were fucking colonizers and slave owners, right?
Let them know that you're going to be homeschooling, and then after that, there's no like testing that you need to do, or they don't really check up on you.
The first community that really went after us was the r/Jewish subreddit. I had CPS come out here because they had complained to CPS trying to get my kids.
And it's motherfuckers like that just make it worse. People that do that shit, like I like these people I completely disagree with. They're fucking, I think they're stupid. but leave him alone.
It's taken away. The health department has come out here. They just blanket made complaints to everyone. I mean, I do have Mein Kampf, but I think that's just historically relevant.
Who wrote that one?
Mein Kampf?
Yeah.
Hitler.
Oh, shit.
He's sort of the central villain of the 20th century. So if you don't understand what he thought, then you're, again, missing a big piece of history. Did he make mistakes? I believe so.
What do you think the biggest mistake was?
Invading the Sudetenland.
None of the other stuff.
The other stuff? Well, it depends on what you mean.
Just like the Holocaust and everything.
The Holocaust? I don't know about all that. Everybody.
I mean, I understand wanting to read Mein Kampf from like a historical aspect in the sense of, because like, yeah, I think to know why why this shit happened, you should know why and you should know what they were thinking, but just to outright deny the Holocaust is why 15 fucking people were just murdered in Australia on the first day of Hanukkah, dude. This world is fucked. I don't think any humans deserve... I don't think most humans don't deserve free will anymore.
But he thinks Genghis Khan is cool and he killed more people than Hitler. The question is, like, how fast that will take for Hitler to be as cool as Genghis Khan. I don't know. Total brown Gorper victory.
Yeah, Genghis Khan isn't fucking cool either, you moron! Just because he's in video games now doesn't mean that he's fucking cool.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I like making tacos. That's fun.
Despite the fact that we do have, taco nights sometimes, we also have traditional European food nights.
I really love breaded chicken, like fried chicken. I like pizza, I like typical stuff.
Look, I was a big Dr. Dre guy for like my teenage years when I was like working out and everything like that. But then I was like, I don't think it is as soothing to my soul. And that goes back to just like anthropological data that we have about the difference between like rhythm and harmony.
What about you?
I don't listen to rap music. I listen to gospel music.
Okay, who's your favorite gospel artist?
Probably Skillet.
You say Skrilla?
Skillet.
Skillet. What do they sing about?
It's like a rock Christian band.
Okay, cool.
Hardcore, we love Jesus.
Fucking lame, dude. The lamest shit. The lamest shit.
Can Greeks live here?
They're European.
How about Central Asian Caucasians?
They're not European.
But the Caucasus Mountains, Caucasian ancestral birthplace, is technically in Central Asia.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Some Italian Americans, like in Staten Island, think they're not white.
Oh,
They say, I'm not white, I'm Italian.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with the historical uses of the term white. For legal reasons.
Fucking, dude, 70, 80 years ago, this guy would have hated Italian people. Because Italians were and are a minority, but now they're seen as white now. Italians and Irish weren't. I talked about this before. They weren't seen as white back in the early 20th century. It's just morons like this asshole are just try to find reasons to blame for all their shortcomings. They try to find, and they're too stupid to really understand the nuances in the world.
Reasons. I believe Italians and Irish were actually always considered white.
Thank you. Can you show us?
They weren't back then, but now because you're here, you wouldn't have thought that, dumbass.
Brown, you think?
Sure, of course.
You're watching Channel 5 News, broadcasting live from the Mojave mainframe. And today, we have a special report.
Ladies and gentlemen, the USA is in the state of emergency. And that emergency is related to rapid community decline. In 2019, more than 60% of Americans thought that in-person community involvement was very important. Today, that number is beneath 27%, marking the sharpest dip in modern U.S. history. Consequentially,
one of the big issues, man, in today's society is how far I think we've gone to online. And I know the irony of me saying that while I'm online right now, but it's just the fact that so many damn people are spending way too much time online. Chronically online, and they're forming social groups online. I don't think I really have like a big social group or a lot of friends. I don't have a whole lot of friends on Discord or anything like that. I got a community and I love those guys, but no one really talks in there. We don't spend a whole lot of time in there, but so many people now I feel like are just spending all of their time online, and it just creates these echo chambers where their friends are online. They think exactly alike. My closest friend and I, we don't always agree on everything. It's just, I don't know. I guess maybe the internet has just made relationships easily disposable. That makes sense. Friendships and relationships are easily disposable, so people don't work to keep those relationships because they can just easily get another friend. I mean, that's kind of how it is with dating now, with all the dating apps and shit too. It's just super easy just to, oh, this person's too heavy for me. Well, you know, I'm just gonna go online and find someone else. It's just little micro things, right?
Loneliness is at an all-time high. 17% of Americans reportedly have no friends at all and spend the majority of their time either at work or on social media. In my opinion, that's bad.
I don't think we're actually collectively
on social media. In my opinion, that's bad.
Corey Taylor, Las Vegas.
I don't think we're actually collectively benefiting from being the richest country on earth so much these days.
You could drive for a half hour in any direction and still be in just more suburbs.
If there's one thing that I want people to take away from our entire Channel 5 catalog, it's that community is the most important thing on earth. Aside from helping us to meet our core emotional needs, I believe that community really is like existential therapy that helps us to deal with the dread that accompanies the human condition. From the moment that we actualize death as young children, we spend the rest of our lives coping with the fact that an eternal silence likely awaits us at the end of this strange, beautiful, and painful journey. But community, unlike life itself, offers permanence. Through a strong and continuous community, you can achieve something close to collective immortality, at least in your own mind, which helps to assuage the fear of death in a way that makes life less painful. It's deeper than getting a beer with the homies, which also is happening way less.
We told you recently about
I mean, I think about the community too is, I think like what I was saying earlier, is that you get exposed to people with different ideas and different backgrounds. And that's why community is also good as well. But what these people seem like, this all-white community, they basically just made a real-life Discord server and then moved to it. They just took a racist Discord, they took a 4chan channel and just moved it out into real life, off the internet. Now it's come full circle.
steep decline in partying among young people, 70% down.
Simultaneously, people are spending more time online than ever before. And by online, I mean on social media platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. This is only compounding the mental health effects of isolation. 40% of Americans between 18 to 22 admit to being an active social media addiction. 50% of Americans say that social media has had a negative effect on their personal relationships. 60% say it's impacted their self-esteem for the worse due to comparison. 80% admit to being deceived by social media content on a regular basis. And the average screen time for an 18-year-old American in 2025 is 8 hours and 39 minutes per day. Now, let's pivot and talk about the content that dominates social media platforms. As we mentioned in our previous video about Baltimore, bad news makes more money and travels faster than good news, and social media platforms are rival companies who measure success through engagement, which means keeping your eyes glued to the screen for as long as possible. Statistically, this is best done by deploying content that markets crisis, fear, or disaster. So the users who dominate these platforms and eventually become parasocial leaders are experts in doing just that, scaring people, scaring the hell out of them. Usually by shaping a distorted version of the outside world that keeps their followers both inside and engaged into a feedback loop that carefully mimics community.
We've all been...
That's like, dude, that's mind control basically, in a way. I mean, essentially what these guys are doing is controlling you by your emotions. They convinced these guys that the Holocaust isn't that big of a deal.
Been exposed to the same sources of information online as well. We're like part of the same online subculture.
You know what, one of the big reasons? Well, one of the biggest causes of all this terrorist bullshit, all this Islamic terrorist shit, is the fucking internet. Seriously. I mean, I was learning it back in high school. And then they talked about how they went over to the Middle East and how they talked to some of these Islamist extremists, and they're saying, well, I read it on the internet. That's what they were all saying. That's what's happening to the United States right now. And also just the world. The world's getting too online. Not that the internet not that we're not living in a renaissance right now and the internet isn't one of the greatest inventions of mankind. I mean, it's one of the most amazing things ever. But then we're allowing these people to turn it into just poison. It's poisoning society instead of helping it because people want to because I don't know. What does Mark Zuckerberg not have? What can he not afford at this point? Like, I don't understand why. I mean, he has his own fucking bunker, for Christ's sakes, and I didn't take a dent out of his income, out of his net worth. Doesn't make any sense. It's because they all want power. It's all a fucking dick measuring contest. That's all it is all these dumbasses have to be the best, so they ruin society.
I use X. My algorithm is mostly right-wing political content. Nick Fuentes gets...
These fucking algorithms are evil too. Get rid of these algorithms.
It's fed to me a lot.
I didn't start out nearly as identitarian as I am now. Even my own comment section, in many ways, persuaded me that this stuff is more.
And we watch a lot of shit on school shooters and shit, and it's always the same, man. All these school shooters, they're all Columbine lovers. They all are, and they're always in these groups where they're having discussions about the Columbine guys and the guy that did the New Zealand shooting, the massacre at the mosque. It's the internet, and I don't know, man. It's not that like you should restrict the internet, but I think what the people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos with places like Twitch, because Jeff Bezos owns Twitch. Twitch's CEO is just the guy who likes to look at titty streamers. But Jeff Bezos, Amazon, is the one who owns Twitch. Zuckerberg. And, now we got these Peter Thiel and Alex Karp douchebags. And they're trying to, I don't know, man. It's like a combination between Brave New World and 1984, where we just have an enormous amount of endorphin overdoses every day in order to get people to have these, to be easier to manipulate. But then combine that with all the surveillance and control from 1984. And it kind of sucks. Those books were supposed to be warnings, not blueprints, but when I guess people are more focused on themselves and instead of society in general, this is what happens.
More important than I was giving credit to.
But it's important to remember that regardless of politics, all people fundamentally want the same thing in life and are just grown babies looking for somebody to play with.
We do games, traditional, like the Highland games. Those are traditional Scottish games.
Even before I lived here, I would come and visit and bring my poker set, and we would just do like very low stakes, like $5, $10 buy-in. It's just a fun night with the blokes, grand old time. And then sword fighting is one of the things I really like to do.
It's the lamest. Oh my
Tu
god.
correo
Dude.
electrónico es tu carta de presentación. Cuídala. Con el
It's with that lens that I want you to watch today's documentary, which revolves around a whites-only Christian settlement in rural Arkansas called Return to the Land.
Yeah, my name's Eric Orwell.
Yeah, white Jesus. Jesus was white, right?
I'm the president of the Return to the Land Private Membership Association.
We call it The Settlement. This is our first intentional community for people of European heritage, planning many others around the country.
Yeah, we have 3 acres, the RV and the solar system and everything.
So this is a homesteading project, pretty much.
Yeah.
Have you been able to harvest your own food?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of tomatoes, pepper.
There's been black people in Europe, by the way, for a very long time. So when they say that shit, the European heritage, it's essentially it's another dog whistle, and it's basically, and it's also trying to sell the fact that, like, it's because I mean that seems reasonable, right? Oh, African American, European American. Oh, it sounds reasonable, but then you kind of got to think about it. I mean, that's the reason why I don't like African American either, because I don't think any black Americans, none of the black Americans are from Africa. I mean, other than the ones that are from Africa. Because I mean, wouldn't you consider Elon Musk an African American too? Like, where do you kind of stop it? So they're Americans who are black, and we love our black Americans. We love all Americans.
Melons.
What are the main tenets of the community?
Well, we believe in traditional European values, traditional nuclear families, monogamy.
We're not looking for the weird whatever trans things are going on now. We're not for that.
Basically, what you would find in traditional European religious texts, like the New Testament, like the Havamal in Norse paganism.
How many people do you think live in this community right now?
We have, I think, if you include children, something around like 35 or so.
And we've got hundreds of new people accepted just in the last, few months.
A lot of people are concerned about rapid demographic change, mass immigration, and just what's happening to our countries.
Why not just
go to Idaho?
Well, because I'm not just thinking about what would be convenient or easy now for us, I'm also thinking what will the country look like for my kids and grandkids. Coeur d'Alene, I looked up the census information, and it's dropped nearly 10% of the white population in the last 20 years. That's mostly immigration.
I grew up in Montana.
Did you notice a significant demographic?
It's also mostly immigration, and it is also interracial. Interracial, you know, kids. And I mean, I know these guys hate that too. The purity.
Shift in Montana?
Not yet, but it's happening. It won't be long.
And where'd y'all move from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
And whose idea was it?
It was his idea.
I did notice that race-mixed kids I didn't think looked as attractive as
Exactly. What did I say?
kids who were pure race, but you know, that's anecdotal.
So going back to the very beginning, you said you grew up in Southern California?
Yeah.
What part of the area?
The south of LA County, La Mirada.
Okay, cool. So you pretty much grew up like in a pretty diverse area.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my elementary school was primarily Mexican. I remember we had some kind of cultural day and they asked like, you know, where your ancestors came from, and they were writing it on the board, and it was like Mexico, 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 England, Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. Yeah. I mean, I have no other identity I can go back to. I'm a quarter or more Norwegian, and then I'm German, and I'm English. So I can't say that I'm English, I can't say I'm German, I can't say I'm Norwegian.
You're American, dude. You don't come from those places, you come from South LA. What's wrong with that? It's stupid.
Alone, I'm not even like majority any of those things. So the only identity that I have, ethnocultural identity, is as a white American. And I think that's most white Americans, actually.
Yeah, exactly what I said, but there's nothing wrong with that.
It seems like the idea of white people or whiteness that we know today that's referenced by the media or by the Associated Press is a relatively new construction. Like talking to my grandparents who grew up in Philadelphia, you had different sections of town that belonged to different very tight-knit European communities. You had the Irish neighborhoods, German neighborhoods, Italian, Polish, Greek, and then with the mass influx of African Americans from the South during the Great Migrations, those lines kind of dissolved and they became a more loose unit of pan-European whites who fled the cities, and that's part of the reason that Philadelphia became so overwhelmingly black. And
yeah, and that's the reason why he doesn't consider Irish or Italian people non-white now. He considers them white because they intermingled with each other.
so now I don't know my ancestral Irish culture because it dissolved as a result of the political situation of the time. A lot of traditions have been lost throughout the process of white assimilation.
Yeah, and that's true. That's definitely part of it. I don't think Mexican heritage has those same issues. Latinos, though, it's interesting. They come from a bunch of different indigenous backgrounds, plus the Spanish influence. Yeah. And they have no problem like seeing their commonality, and they kind of embrace it. Like La Raza, it means the race. Pura la raza latina. And they're very pro this kind of unified Latino thing.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm at the Waffle House, not too far away from the RTTL settlement. Very different vibe, but I'm happy to be here. Anyways, we were just talking about Mexico and Spanish stuff, so I figured now's a good time to tell you that Channel 5 actually has a second Spanish language channel with all original content from across Latino America. Awesome. So if you guys want to check out a couple of videos, such as Lucha Extrema, or Nahuatl Language Survival, or Inside Tepito, Mexico City's largest counterfeit market, or Mexican Independence Day, or so many more things, you can check all these videos out on Canal 5. Just type in Canal 5 Latino America. You should see like a circle. Looks kind of like Channel 5, but instead of being blue and red for America, it's green and red for Mexico. So if you want to give us a sub, a like, or whatever, maybe comment, gracias Andres, este video es muy chistoso. I really appreciate it. Once again, that's Canal 5. I'm trying to expand our coverage across the world, country by country, society by society. So maybe there'll be Channel 5 Africa or Channel 5 Russia in the future. But for now, we've got Canal 5 Latino America. So if you want to check it out, like I said, the link is in the description box and the pinned comment of this video. All right, guys, back to Eric and our TTL. After grappling with the lack of ancestral connection during his formative years in LA County, Eric decided to attend a performing arts school in upstate New York. During his schooling, he became infatuated with the works of classical European composers, who gave him a sense of tradition that he finally felt connected to.
I went to school at Eastman for French horn performance, so I'm a big fan of, Bruckner and Brahms and Strauss and Mozart and Beethoven, all that stuff.
After college, Eric's admiration for the Mozarts of the world morphed into a total obsession with Greek philosophy and ancient European history.
You know, those old European cultures.
Today, Europe stuff is still his primary fixation and passion.
I personally have a lot of respect for the Dutch. The Mycenaean Greeks were this big force at the end of the Bronze Age. The religious traditions of pagan Europe had valuable things to teach us. All European people are descended from 3 ancestral groups: the Western hunter-gatherers, the steppe herders, and then from the Neolithic farmers who came from Anatolia around 9000 BC, initially into Greece, and then spreading everywhere else. As a Neoplatonist, I kind of agree with Iamblichus. I like Atlantis research. That's another hobby.
You think
I mean, here's my belief. My belief is this dude grew up in South LA, was probably bullied a shit ton by Hispanic kids, and now his entire life is him justifying hating those Hispanic kids. That's his entire life. He's dedicated his entire life justifying to why he hates those kids who bullied him. I think that's just my theory. That's my theory that I base on nothing.
Atlantis was a real place?
100%. And they were also in Western Europe at various times.
But do you have French pride?
I'm not French.
My dad can't lose weight with Tai Chi, so it's a scam?
Oh, no, he probably just doing it wrong.
These interests ultimately led Eric into a career in philosophical content creation, beginning with his first videos over 13 years ago.
The term philosophy was first coined by Pythagoras. What we might call pleasure and pain, I think more neutrally and generally could be termed positive and negative subjective value. We can talk about that level of egotism as being a kind in its own right.
Gradually, from 2016 on, these videos became more politicized, focusing a bit less on Plato and metaphysics and more on a shadowy global elite who uses mind control on the unawoken masses.
We can sacrifice, racial purity at a national level if we get cultural and racial integrity at the local level.
It's this kind of content that caught the eye of most current RTTL settlers.
I believe I came across Eric's X account. He has kind of a philosophy channel on YouTube and X. So I found him through philosophical content.
I teach courses on Plato and Aristotle online.
Through that, heard about Return to the Land and became interested.
RTTL was initially marketed as a positive, community-based regression to a pre-industrial society.
The way a state should be run is in the interest of the people, not a set of corporations, not just the ruling class, not just one man.
And if you take the race stuff out of all of this, living this way does provide a pretty gratifying existence to people who've grown up in either Gen Z or millennial American society, where almost everyone is chronically online and frantically scavenging to pay rent in a limited job market.
What are some things that you've built here that you're very proud of?
I don't know, I probably built like 30% of that starter home, maybe like 40% of the little cabin over there. Oh yeah, the other cabin over there, I might have built like 40% of that, but
Do you feel like labor gives you the most personal gratification as far as your role here?
As far as my role here, yes. It's also like a good thing to keep each other responsible. It's very easy, as a teenager, oh yeah, I'm gonna get off of school and I'm gonna go home and play video games and, do whatever else you do as a teenage boy in your bedroom for 4 hours, and then before you know it, the day's gone,
Yeah.
Whereas here, if me and Jonathan, we're being unproductive or whatever, we can kind of kick each other in the ass and be hey, what's going on?
What's your favorite thing to do around here?
I like to cook. I've cooked for the guys that work here. I don't really have hobbies or anything.
She cooks a killer steak.
I like being appreciated for my cooking.
Almost everyone here at the land, I think, worked on this.
You proud of it?
Well, it was our first build, so most guys don't have any experience and we're just learning from YouTube.
So YouTube taught you to build a house?
Yeah, essentially.
We bought it raw, undeveloped land, so that's been exciting.
What's the thing out here that you're most proud of in this homestead project so far?
Probably the garden. I feel like David put a lot of work into just getting this ready for us to be here.
So I believe that polities should be small in scale to the point where you could conceivably know everyone in the community. I think there should be a diverse set of communities for people to choose from, like the Greek city-states. If you didn't like how Corinth was governed, well, you could move to Athens.
Building from the intellectual framework that Eric has created, race seems to almost arise as an unnecessary flashpoint for a group of people in a virtually all-white area who are primarily concerned with their homesteading project. Yet still, it's brought up constantly.
I hate to be that guy, but I've had a lot of black friends.
Okay, top 5 black people.
Tommy Sotomayor, Louis Farrakhan, let me think, the Hodge twins, and Jesse Lee Peterson.
Black Lives Matter is a far left liberal radical.
That's why he doesn't like Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass is the shit. Couldn't name that guy. He's so well read, but doesn't like Frederick Douglass. He likes this fucking moron.
Agitative organization founded by a bunch of black lesbians and homosexuals and
Mr. Peterson, I suggest you give...
Okay, like one of my best friends ever used to be Puerto Rican. He was a lot of fun, but it's sort of like, you know, you have these big ethnic blocks that are like boulders, right? And you can build a bridge across and like meet in the middle and be friends with someone from another ethnic group, of course, right? But it's very unstable. It doesn't last.
What happened with your Puerto Rican friend?
Oh, nothing. He just moved away. He moved back to Puerto Rico.
Were you sad?
Oh, I was a little bit sad, yeah.
Damn, that sucks, man.
Hey guys, what's up? Communities like the one here in the Ozarks are real-life manifestations of online echo chambers. When people start relying on
Exactly what I said. Real life manifest. Yeah, you just put it way more articulate. We said it was a real life Discord server.
Facebook groups, message boards, and fringe YouTube channels for information, the digital feedback loop eventually spills into the real world. Beliefs get reinforced, outsiders get villainized, and an entire town can start to mirror the same closed-circuit worldview you normally only see online. So naturally, before we put boots on the ground and go inside, we get informed, using what you might ask? Ground news. Ground news is a dope spectrum and are covering us both on the right, and when an issue this large goes almost entirely uncovered by an entire aren't actually covering a store tracks ownership if you cut through the noise. And right now, guess what? If you scan the QR code on down to 5 this dope ground news.
And we live on, my name is Jonathan Malorn, this is Josephine Moore, and we live on the land here at RTTL.
Have you guys had any kids yet?
No, we're not married.
yet.
Oh, you guys are dating?
Yes.
Courting.
What's courting?
Courting is just like dating with more steps. Essentially, we have to be like verified by our supervisors and guardians, people we look up to and respect, and they both monitor our relationship and help to advise whether or not we are good for each other. If they decide we are good for each other, then they walk us along and help us to pursue the relationship that would, you know, end in the best outcome, which would be getting married and having as many children as possible.
So they're incapable of making their own decisions.
For Jonathan, who grew up in a Mennonite colony until he was 6, exiting standard society and courting his future wife in isolation is the only viable option for long-term success in today's dating culture.
What is right with the dating culture? Every woman on the internet is more or less advertising herself as sexually accessible. And so if that's what you want to do as a bloke and throw your soul away for...
Why does he keep referring to men as blokes? It's fucking weird.
Quick goon. Yeah, it's great. Dating culture for that. The problem with that is, and we see this demographically and statistically, the birth rate is going down exactly because of the over-accessibility of sex. The market...
No, it's because people can't fucking afford. People can't afford to having kids.
Place value of sex and monogamy as a whole is basically at an abysmal level.
These are people who spend way too much time in their own communities, and then they start believing they don't do any research because it's fake, and they just, and their real news sources are fucking memes and all this stupid shit, and then they get together in real life. Yeah, that's not going to be a fucking problem in the future, huh? That's going to be a big issue in the future.
Low level, probably the lowest it's ever been in human history that I've ever studied. And that does not benefit the future generation of our offspring. It does not actually benefit a happy life. People above the age of 40 who are married long term have significantly happier lives, both male and female.
I notice you have a ton of kids.
Yeah.
How many you got?
Number 5 on the way.
Okay, cool. What's the plan for education for the kid?
I'm homeschooling. It's going pretty well. I know everything that they need to learn. It's going to be nice being in the community when they get a little older, and I'm going to need help filling in certain subjects I'm not comfortable with. That's another reason I'm glad to have the community, because I don't necessarily want to sift through every piece of history to know, what's acceptable to teach the kids or not. I trust the guys here.
I'm not overwhelmed by the evidence for...
These people can't fucking think for themselves, dude. The internet's been doing it for them for so long that now they can't even decide shit for themselves. They're fucking stupid. He's not. He's well read. I still believe his entire purpose in life is is to justify his hatred towards all those Mexican kids who probably bullied him back growing up. But everyone else is fucking there because they can't think for themselves.
The exact official narrative, like it was precisely 6 million. You know, there's Black Wall Street. Back in the era of segregation, there are examples of prosperous black communities.
Black Wall Street, I'm pretty sure got burned down in a race riot.
Tulsa.
Yeah, I mean, if you look into the details there, that's another one of these narratives. Slavery was bad, but also everyone else practiced slavery too. North America was very sparsely populated when we got here.
It's important to note that interwoven into these tropes about community building and
yeah. Oh my god, dude. The thing is, man, though, is that it's not white slavery and it's not white people slavery. It's just the slavery in the United States, and the reason why it's such a big issue in the United States is because it really wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things. I mean, a lot of the U.S. was built on slavery, and Jim Crow laws. This is shit I harped on another stream. I mean, Jim Crow laws, it only existed, what, 60, 70 years ago at most? So we're only like one generation removed from the Jim Crow generation? But, like, the reason why I think the United States harps so much on the slavery owned by white people is because that's specific to the United States. And we still feel the effects of it. We're getting better. I mean, I think we've been making a lot of strides in the process, but dipshits like this ruin it.
An heritage celebration is a much more intense core, and one that embraces controversial and outdated race science.
Black college-educated people still tend to be more violent and criminal than white high school dropouts.
Really?
Yeah, the average IQ in some parts of sub-Saharan Africa is under 75, which is considered mentally disabled. East Asians have measurably a higher average.
Because it's probably because in Africa there's a lot of fucking poverty, and people are living in houses made out of scrap metal that they found. I think they're just trying to fucking survive. They're not too worried about getting a doctorate degree.
Average IQ than Europeans, and they're less criminal and they're more prosperous.
So you're saying Asians are smarter than us?
Do you want insights into larger player activities? The big players are the whales of the market.
Yes, on average. Yeah.
Like every Japanese person I've met or like Korean seems really smart, but I've met some Chinese people where it's like, really? I feel like they're fudging the numbers on that one, to be honest.
As far as most experts are concerned, all of these IQ numbers are fudged. Here's a big...
They're all real life walking fucking Pepe memes. They're living Pepe memes. That's all what these guys are.
More about that from somebody who knows his shit, because I feel like it's worth it.
These tests were made for the purpose of figuring out
Cornell University, that's liberal lies.
Who's going to do well in school. It doesn't predict terribly well to many kinds of real-world successes. There's so much it doesn't tell you. That it doesn't tell you about emotional intelligence, creative intelligence, common sense, wisdom. There's so much more to a person than just their IQ. I would say the major problem has been what's sometimes called scientific racism, but it's not really scientific. It's using the guise of science to...
It's all bullshit. You know, there's no difference between like someone's skin color and their eye color differences, right? The eye color is a genetic makeup. Skin color is a genetic makeup. There's nothing really that determines someone's intelligence in that sense. It's just a genetic skin pigmentation. That's it. It's stupid. There isn't any science behind it. Imagine hating someone for having blue eyes. All people with blue eyes are dumb. That's the same argument. Same logic.
Advance
Same
racist
fallacy.
views, because you sometimes get racial differences in different kinds of test scores, including IQ, that don't take into account where those differences may come from. It was convenient for some people to say, well, look, we can divide people by nationality or social.
One college statistic classes one college statistic class will show you that like these type of studies are purposely made this way to be biased so that people like him can use them as justification for these views. That's literally the only reason why these studies exist. They don't actually prove anything. They're only made to confirm people's biases in those studies.
Actually define race or ethnic group or religion into different IQ groups, and they probably believe themselves that it told you something, but it didn't tell you what they thought it told you. People with high IQs are often better at convincing themselves of whatever they want. So in other words, they use their IQ for self-justification. They're better at justifying whatever they want to believe. So if they have an ideology, they may have
exactly what I said.
a very weird ideology, but they'll find ways to defend it even if it's not factually accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of the people you're studying in Arkansas, but I think that making judgments about people.
I know that anyone playing with swords, I mean, no offense. I mean, hey, if you like to go LARPing and stuff like that, that's fine. I mean, that's cool. I get it. I'm not into that. But if you're seriously sitting out there sword fighting and, you know, being badass because of like the past European, like it's our heritage, sword fighting, like that's kind of dumb. They look really dumb and silly. You guys are very silly.
Solely on the basis of IQ is a serious mistake.
Michael Jordan is not a genius.
I don't know Michael Jordan. I've never assessed him. I don't know that much about him. But you see, he's a good example of someone with adaptive intelligence. Mm-hmm. And in terms of adaptive...
He's not a genius. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. I think you gotta be pretty smart to come from fucking nowhere, North Carolina. That's right. Or South Carolina, North Carolina. He's from the South. You know, came from nothing. Now he's a billionaire. I think you gotta be pretty smart. You're living in an all-white community, and hammering wood, and you watching YouTube videos on how to build houses. I mean, no disrespect. That's cool, but you're sitting here acting like you're smarter than Michael Jordan, who's a fucking billionaire and the greatest basketball player of all time. Dude owns a NASCAR team.
Of intelligence, I mean, like, wow, he's done a great job.
Anyways, back to Eric and the fed-up whites of the Arkansas wilderness.
What do you think was modern white America's Treaty of Versailles moment?
I guess like the Civil Rights Act. You know, there's a basis for equal rights under the law, and that was kind of the nominal intention of the civil rights movement, but it went way beyond that and has ended up restricting people's freedom.
One counter-argument that I would make to that is that, you know, in the 1940s and 50s, World War II ends, all the returning veterans come home. The GI Bill allows returning veterans to get low-cost mortgages on new homes. This is when Levittowns were being built and suburbs were being constructed at a very rapid rate. Cul-de-sacs were sprouting up, and the American dream was hatched. You know, white picket fence, nuclear family. Now, the Homeowners Loan Corporation, which basically decided who could live where, had racially restrictive covenants that said only white people can live in this area. Minorities can't live. They can only live in certain red-line zones.
Yeah, red lines.
Civil Rights Act comes in '64 after redlining had already began, after deindustrialization made the urban cores of places like Philadelphia, Chicago, and Detroit barren, and there was a mass transfer of wealth into surrounding suburbia. So what do you think about the notion that by the time the Civil Rights Act was passed, they already had the short end of the stick?
I would say that they were not at an advantage, obviously. The expectation that the black community should have reached parity in a generation is crazy. Obviously, that would be impossible. It'd require massive top-down social engineering.
Right.
Oh, he's thinking. His brain, his gears are grinding. He's thinking.
And redistribution of resources. Now, we have done that.
I'm here with from UNFPA visiting the Emirati hospital in Rafah.
over the 20th century. But I think we overcorrected.
Well, for example, like small business loans, right? Like there was something that they sort of blew the water off of like 6 months ago or something like that. And it's basically a fact that if you're not a white male, like you're getting like, I forget the exact numbers, so don't hold me to it, but like $90,000 more to start a small business just because you're a minority. You know, as a white male, you're putting so much more back into the system and we're getting less and less out. It's basically parasitic.
In limited cases, maybe when it's historic.
I mean, are non-white people, I mean, I know what their answer is because they said yeah, but the truth is non-white people are no more parasitic than white people on the welfare system. There's a shit ton of white people on the welfare system that are fucking parasitic as shit. What about them?
Historically verifiable that this person was a slave on this plantation, that plantation, the wealth went to this person. You know, if it's all on the books, then I think that's fair. Actually, some cases of reparations of that kind have taken place. So I'm all for that. But there's a more general narrative that black people are where they are in society today because of continual systemic oppression and white supremacy. And I don't think that's true at all.
Do you think there's any solution in America politically that could lead to a reduction in homicides in a place like Baltimore?
I think the options are remigration or death penalty.
It should be noted that RTTL's opposition to the Civil Rights Act is beyond an ideological one, and it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s ghost itself that could come back and f this place up. You see, the 1964 rulings included something called the Fair Housing Act, which was designed specifically to stop things like this from happening.
Isn't the Fair Housing Act technically supposed to restrict this kind of thing?
Well, no, because there are exceptions for private associations, and we're not selling real estate. When people buy a share in the company that owns the land here, they're not getting a deed to land. They're getting the right to homestead in our community.
All the initial LLC members, they paid the real estate company directly through the escrow agent.
Unlike a residential development, which is owned by a real estate company that must follow fair housing guidelines, RTTL is an LLC, a limited liability corporation, technically operating on a commercial property that was once owned and zoned by a logging company. So the settlers there are actually partners in the company who must apply with the board to be shareholders.
So you basically buy stock in a company, and then that in turn gives you usage rights for the land.
Right, shares in a private company.
And company boards can refuse the sale of shares to whoever they want. They're not explicitly legally required to give a reason why. You see what they did?
I mean, obviously, European heritage is very important to us, and you'd be surprised, really, by the number of people that, despite knowing that, they'll get through the interview. I've asked them about their ethnic background, and then they mention, oh yeah, but I have a Colombian wife. It's like that kind of thing. It's kind of contrary to our values as an association.
What if the Colombian wife is like 100% Spanish-blooded?
Well, then it's probably fine.
How much did that first share cost?
About $6K.
Pretty low.
I think that was for about like 3% share in the LLC.
How much do you think it cost you overall to get to this current point?
Oh, not too much compared to like a normal house.
And how close do you feel like you are to true self-sufficiency where you wouldn't technically have to leave?
Pretty far away from that. It's a good goal. This is our first year really here, so let's just like adding one piece at a time.
You could build a small cabin or have a building delivered for $5,000 to $10,000. So that plus the cost of the share itself, you could really reasonably get started with about $50,000.
Is your goal ever to pave these roads, or do you kind of like the rugged Appalachian feel?
No, I mean, one day if we could pave all these roads, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
But Orania in South Africa, they have 3,000 people. They bought an already existing town, you know, and then developed from there. And even they still have dirt roads. So it's going to be quite a while.
Is that an all-white town? Why don't they just move there then? You know, the thing is, man, I think the thing is about the United States is that anyone should be welcome in the United States. I'm not saying open borders, but I mean, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It was a Ronald Reagan quote. Anyone from anywhere can come and be an American, you know? And I think this shit is inherently anti-American. These people talk about how much they love the United States. Well, no, they don't. They don't like what the United States is right now. They want to go back to this fantasy land that never really existed. It only existed in fucking, you know, the Andy Griffith show and shit like that. Andy Griffin, whatever the fuck his name was, you know.
we get these paved.
It should come
Leave
as
it to
no
Beaver
surprise
shit.
at all that they chose Arkansas for this project. It's a red state with low government oversight and a bunch of its own problems. Plus, the settlement is ungodly far from any population centers. It's hard to explain just how in the sticks this place truly is. The closest town is called Hardy, over 20 minutes away by car, and home to less than 1,000 people. Only
You know what, though? To be fair enough, at least these guys packed up and got out of the community and started their own shit. And as long as they just leave everyone else alone, then whatever, I guess. That's fine. You know, leave them alone. If they leave everyone else alone, I say sure, give it their, then that could be their own little place. You know? If you want to go have a little Nazi land, then go ahead.
one of whom is black.
The locals didn't really have an issue with us. We've had good relations with most of our neighbors from the start.
There's a lot of people out here that I guess live and let live, you could say, which I appreciate that.
Still though, despite the lack of local pushback, there is some concern that with this national news media attention, legal trouble could be imminent.
Potentially, the biggest hurdle is the legal hurdle. There's going to be a lot of legal challenges, I think, to go through with this sort of thing.
We've not been sued or fined.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone.
Yet, but we do expect that. People have made complaints to government departments. We've had requests for information from government departments. So I think investigations are happening, and we'll have to wait months to really find out.
Even with...
Yeah, man, maybe the best case of action is just to leave these guys alone. Let them have their own little community, and as long as they don't interfere with American way of life, they can have their own little weird-ass way of life too, I guess, whatever. Just don't interfere. Don't be pushing your bullshit religion, or your, not just religion, but, you know, whatever this weird-ass ideology is, and don't try to force all of the United States to become that. If you believe in this shit, all right, just go there. Just go over there. That's fine. And just we'll leave you alone, you leave us alone.
With potential legal complications on the horizon, most people there feel like it's worth it. On the settlement, there's a tinge of nihilism in the air. Most people feel like the country at large is doomed.
I don't think that there's like good political solutions for it now. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? I think actually like people being present and like putting in the labor, kind of like I'm doing, not to toot my own horn too much, but like every single day, and living in a lifestyle that's more conductive to community.
Maybe that's like a good, like, have these people self-segregate from society would probably be better for American society in general.
It's probably going to be the way forward.
So do you see places like this, return to the land settlements, sprouting up across the country as a potential way to actually counter the demographic shift?
I don't think it will counter the demographic shift as a whole. I think it will provide safe places for my kids and grandkids to grow up valuing their culture, and that's what I'm going for. You know, that's my goal.
I think the solution looks something like what we're doing here. I think that's probably the best course of action.
I think the best we can hope for with politics is just to be left alone. I don't think realistically with the electoral maps we're looking at right now, there's ever going to be Uber-based gets elected. Nick Fuentes actually could probably do a pivot which I think he's already kind of doing, where he focuses less on the race question, more on Israel, and gets a broader coalition for electoral politics, so it's possible. But I don't think it's going to be like the next Führer or anything.
And right now there are several communities being organized. One of the things I've been up to lately is getting ready to go to all those sites where there are groups of people who want to do this and help them get organized, help them, you know, decide who their board of managers will be for their companies that'll own their land. So yeah.
I left the settlement confused and honestly a bit sad. I mean, I know there's been problems and stuff, but it felt like shit was kind of all good not that long ago. The fact that people nowadays will go to such lengths to feel seen and heard is a symptom of a far greater social ill than meets the naked eye through this video. The American experiment is beginning to crack in new ways, and armies of the confused are shaping and writing the narrative. If I live a long and healthy life, I truly wonder how things will look when I'm 80 years old, and if I'll be equipped to explain to the youth of the future where and how we went wrong, or if we were ever right in the first place. I guess time will tell.
Channel 5 Live Worldwide, Hollywood and Vine. Fuck the authority, Channel 5 News. Channel 55, we don't fuck with custers, and 5 is the best number.
All this talk about heritage got me thinking. Andrew Callahan. What's Callahan? Who are my heroic ancestors? Were they heroic at all? Were they racist? Were they cowards? I had to figure it out. Thank you, sir. Then I remember Callahan is an Irish name. I am Irish. So I feel like after this strange RTTL experience, I owed it to myself to figure out ¿Qué onda que pasa?, which means what's up in Mexican. So I decided to take a trip to the old country and figure out what the heck's going on with Ireland. And more specifically, what are young people in Ireland doing to preserve the Irish language? Here's a...
So was that little girl, was she not Irish? I don't know. Honestly, after watching that, though, maybe it's for the best that they go and do their own little community and, like, they segregate themselves from the rest of American society. Because I believe their beliefs are inherently anti-American. I mean, that's what Andrew Callahan said, that, you know, the great American experiment is really just is people from all over the world able to come together in one country. And if these people are against that, you know, I guess the next best thing from them packing up and leaving the country is them having their own little society away from humanity or from American society, and just leave them alone. And as long as they leave American society alone, fuck it. Yeah. I mean, like, shit. Give them all of Texas. It's plenty of space for all those people. Give them all of Texas. And then we can allow Puerto Rico in as the 51st state, as the not 51st, the 50th state. We can have them replace Texas as the 50th state. We don't have to change the flag or anything. And I know Texans fucking love the idea of their own country. Love the idea of their state being their own country. So let's just give it to them. Let that be that weird European only shit. I lived in Texas. You don't want to fucking live there. The place sucks. Some places are cool, but most of it sucks. No offense to my Texas friends. I hate it.
Ferrero Rocher, vamos a celebrar.
La Navidad Chevrolet viene con el mejor regalo para ti. Visita tu concesionario.
Hassan's moderator, Frogan, has had a clip go viral where she is upset about her finances.
Internet Versus. So, shout out to Internet Versus. We're going to go ahead and subscribe to him. Give him a like. Thank you for your content, buddy.
Confused and worried about what she should do. Immediately, this caused a large portion of the internet to give her backlash, referencing all of her worst moments, like when she says she wishes veterans of the United States should get PTSD. Additionally, Asmongold weighed in on this and got into a feud about whether it's okay to celebrate when your enemies suffer, and some users on Twitter analyzed Frogan's nails, saying that she's obviously wasting money on frivolous things, and therefore shouldn't be complaining about her finances. Frogan came in to defend herself. There's a lot to get into, so let's just jump in. Welcome to the Internet versus Frogan's finances.
I think it's one thing, you know, if you're someone who works your ass off 60 hours a week, I mean, you work your ass off, I think you should be allowed to treat yourself. And if you work your ass off and if you're not allowed to treat yourself, that sucks. You know, I understand being fucking pissed about that. But just sit on your ass and not do anything and then complain about not having any cash, get the fuck over yourself.
It starts when Yi tweets out this clip with the caption, Frogan gets emotional talking about how difficult streaming has been for her in recent months.
And Twitch streaming sucks. I fucking hate it. It's been bad for a few months.
Yeah, but just have fun with it. Like, if you have fun with it, it doesn't matter. Forget about the money, just have fun.
It's my job, though. I have to focus on the fucking money.
I know you do, but that's... Unfortunately, like, you can't control the money. You can only control the content, you know? Like, you can't control how much money people give you. That's not going to be something you can control. You can just control on how much fun you have, and then hopefully the money will come, you know?
Where does Frogan live? LA? I mean, you go live somewhere else. I mean, there's... And I'm not being facetious when I say this, but, like, if the U.S. really is, like, a third world country like people say it is, you know, and they'll act like it is a third world country, then go to another pack them, go to another third world country and live cheaply. That's what I did. Not that I think the U.S. is a third world country, but I moved to South America because it's cheaper. I don't make a whole lot of cash. So I moved down here to live cheaper, to live cheaper. And honestly, it's the best decision I ever made. I love it down here. I love the people here. I love the people. And, you know, I think the U.S. is kind of chaotic right now, most because a lot of this shit. But I love it down here, you know? And I say pack up your shit. And she could probably live just fine and probably have almost the same lifestyle just in a cheaper country. The U.S. is expensive right now. It's hella expensive. And if you can make a decent income on streaming, she already has the followers. Go to another country. And I'm not being facetious. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious. Go somewhere else. Go to Lebanon. I mean, they said she's Lebanese, right? I mean, all these fucking... It seems like all of Hassan's crowd claims they're all half Lebanese. I don't know why, but they all are half Lebanese. But, like, go live there. For real. There's nothing wrong with that. Go. Sorry if you hear the dogs. My neighbor's dogs are obnoxious. Maybe they're barking at me because I'm loud as shit. I'm a loud American down here.
I guess.
No. It's like when, honestly, like you can't control it. People are hurting right now. It's not a great time for anyone to like be giving, you know, discretionary funds. So if you just have fun, like you're gonna make money. Like do your fun stuff. I love when I see you. I was just fucking with you, but I really do like when you do like silly stuff. You're really funny at that stuff. Like the Joker thing that we did together, that was hilarious. I'll come back to streaming if you do Joker.
Nobody wants you back.
Everybody
finish your fucking YouTube video first before you come back to stream.
I got yelled at today by my editor. He was gonna text you. He was so mad at me. I was like, I'm sorry.
Why?
I got really yelled at. Like I got fucking. He threatened to quit.
Why?
Because I kept changing it. He was like, if I have to edit this one more time, I'm fucking stopping. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm just so...
Nicholas Story replies with this gif in the caption, "It's my job though." WestJet says, "The DoorDash drivers in her area crying right now." Asmongold says, "Only in America can an overweight woman with brand new nails cry about not having money and then complain that her job sucks because she has to watch YouTube videos." Next, she's going to tell us she got PTSD from reading mean comments. Should have joined the military instead. Repsion says, "She deserves this. Maybe stop streaming and actually get off your ass and do something with your life rather than hate on everyone and everything and hope people get PTSD because you hate America so much. You did this to yourself." Sensitive Society replies with a gif of Naruto laughing in the caption, "Me watching this." Daniel Friedman says, "There's always OnlyFans." Captain Cabinets replies, "But I thought she was a rising star." Kangman Lee quotes the clip by saying, "She wished PTSD on veterans but has an emotional meltdown because streaming is too hard? Laughable." Caleb Hammer quote tweets it addressing Frogan and saying, "You're formally invited on financial audit." And Donut Operator replies laughing saying yes. Kavos quotes the clip by saying, "If you're no longer making money, then it isn't your job. Content creation is a privilege, not a necessity. Rather than beg people to fund your lifestyle, improve or get another job." The girl with the microphone quotes the clip by saying, "If only Hassan paid his mods." Hey, It's Vadim then makes an independent tweet screenshotting Asmongold's reply to Yeats that we read earlier and captions it, "In the future, we'll all take turns being sued by psychotic asshole millionaires and then criticized by brain-damaged Nazi-sympathizing incel roach fuckers when we eventually break down, as 13-year-old edgelords, magadorks, and bots cheer them on, and rinse and..."
Double your Fortnite wins for half the price? Only at the Black Friday exit lag!
Repeat. And D. Drake replies, "Let me guess. You believe the punishment for misgendering someone should be death." And Vadim says, "Well, if it's Jeffrey Dahmer, then maybe." What, do you disagree, you cannibal sympathizing freak? Asmongold replies to the post by saying, "Shouldn't have been talking shit and making things up about people. People like you have no problem participating in reputation destruction, manipulation, and large-scale gaslighting as long as it serves your ideological goals. That's why they cheer, and you deserve it." Tom replies to Asmon by saying, "Take a break from the internet, bro. What you're explaining is literally your day job." Imposter replies to Asmon by saying, "You really have no self-reflection at all, do you?" Poppy says, "Does it not get tiring having to wake up and be a hateful monster every day for money? Your own peers know you're full of shit, and you don't even believe most of the shit you say." And Solace replies, "Is the hate in the room with us right now?" And Poppy says, "It is everywhere, always." Then Nyara quote tweets Asmongold's post with this picture that says, quote, "Stop trying to groom kids." Asmongold responds to transgender VTuber Nyara's allegations. weapons. And Yara captions it by saying, "You want to talk about reputation destruction? You're a piece of shit who spreads transphobia, normalizes a far-right propaganda, and you deserve to not just be called out, but face real-world consequences for the hate you're spreading. You're not some hero of free speech. You suck." And Asmongold replies with a screenshot of a different post he made, where he says, "If you want to play a fun drinking game, search from Nyara VT trans kids, and take a drink every time you get a new tweet. You'll have alcohol poisoning in 30 seconds. And Yara replies, "Why does a trans woman care about trans kids? That doesn't make the mentally ill people I regularly call grooming victims look good." And Ape replies to Yara, "You are meant."
Alright. If it's just going to be him reading out tweets the entire time, then I'm not watching that. The fucking Rob Reiner thing is horrendous. Ukraine storms Russian position. Oh shit, yeah.
The Russians kick off their assault. They roll out one of the most terrifying weapons of this war, a flamethrower system that literally incinerates everything alive within its blast zone. In raw power, it stands just below nuclear weapons, and wherever it strikes, it turns the battlefield into hell. The mission is single-minded, to take out the Ukrainian strongpoint that has long stood in the way of the Russian advance. The thermobaric munitions falling chaotically over the Ukrainian strongpoint consume the oxygen in the air and generate massive overpressure across the impact zone. They were damn lucky, way out of the blast. Yet they still suffered concussions and nearly suffocated. Most of the troops were wiped out in the rocket
How is that not a war crime?
blast. The overload was too much to survive. Those who survive this hell decide to fall back, knowing that after the shelling comes...
I mean, what's stopping... Use chemical weapons at that point.
...the cleansing of the position. For a long time, Russian command prepared to capture the stronghold.
Descarga el épico juego de acción online War Thunder y alégrate el día con emocionantes batallas.
Pulling in large reserves for the strike. When the artillery sweep ended, the assault force surged ahead. Motorcycles and armored personnel carriers tore toward the landing site, trying to stay clear of Ukrainian drones. The operation was carefully planned and executed with precision. It unfolded lightning fast, and Ukrainian forces couldn't react in time. They stormed the trenches, leaving no threat standing. Orders are clear, no prisoners. Take every last one out. The mortar crew positions the weapon, targeting the enemy trenches.
It's not another war crime. Just Russia committing war crimes. No shock.
This fire support lets infantry advance swiftly over the destroyed enemy. The advance is moving at a breakneck pace. Meanwhile, the Russian sniper circles around from the rear and takes position with a clear view of the Ukrainian retreat routes. Russian drone operators detect a Ukrainian group and pass the coordinates to the sniper, who now knows exactly where they'll appear. Cold calculation, a light touch on the trigger. Almost everyone trying to flee is cut down. War, a mad, ugly act that grinds up destinies with a cold, impassive face. Russian assault units have swept through most of the trenches, facing no resistance from Ukrainian defenses. The preliminary work of artillery and mortars paid off. They sweep the trenches, finishing off all cover and the wounded.
You know what I'd do? I'd have some sort of incendiary devices and something like this, because you know they're gonna, if it works this effective, they're gonna do it again. Place a bunch of fucking incendiary devices in there, and then once you retreat, light that shit off.
Only a handful of feet.
Or mustard gas. I mean, clearly war crimes don't fucking matter in this war, you know. All you need to do is make mustard gas is bleach and ammonia. Make some mustard gas IEDs or some shit like that. Point in there. Fuck them.
Remain, and the strong point is secured. The soldier heard a hoarse voice from a trench. Apparently, these were wounded Ukrainian fighters who couldn't evacuate after the artillery barrage. The Russian soldier instantly pulls a grenade and throws it toward them. That was the last cry of a Ukrainian soldier. The Russians move in and find the wounded fighters already.
Dude, fucking hands are off, bro. Like, gloves off, I mean. They're just straight up committing war crimes. All right, let's see if any of the comments are straight in there. Isn't taking no prisoners a war crime? Yes, issuing an order to take no prisoners engaged in an action where no quarter is given is a serious war crime under international humanitarian law. What a shock. What else? What was the other one? Missiles. Oh, I can't spell missiles. Missiles, Ukraine, war crime. What were those missiles called? Thermobaric. It's a vacuum bomb. So this is the shit they've been using. They've been using these vacuum bombs. Baric weapons legal in war. No, of course not. So right in the very beginning of this video, you get 2 fucking war crimes, dude. Why? I'd be using a nuke if I was Ukraine. I'd be nuking the fuck out of Russia right now. I'd be nuking them. They're just straight. This is what's so stupid about these fucking war crime shit. It doesn't fucking matter because no one's ever held accountable. Putin's never going to be held accountable for doing fucking war crimes. At all. He'll never be held accountable for it. So just drop some fucking nukes. Fuck it. Drop them. If I was Ukraine right now, I'd be going to every single country that has nukes, going under the fucking radar if I could, and getting that shit and nuking the fuck out of Moscow. That's what I'd be doing. Fuck it. Maybe that's the reason why I'm not in charge, though.
Already finished off by the grenade. Among them, one Ukrainian soldier still held a photo of his family, gripping it tightly until the last moment. And like hyenas, they start looting everything in sight. Russian command sees through drone cameras a Ukrainian armored personnel carrier speeding to rescue the last handful of soldiers who got out first after the artillery strike. And just listen to the sarcasm in which they revel in their cruelty as they give their orders.
Огонь, гранатометчик, огонь! Пулеметчик, дай дороги, огонь! Пилот, давайте беглый, пилот! Два выбежали, 3, их там 4 было.
The RPG gunner takes aim and strikes the target precisely. Under a storm of hits, it refuses to fall. That's the power of American steel.
My dad can't lose weight with Tai Chi, so it's a scam?
Oh, no, he probably just doing it wrong.
Unbelievable how tough this armor is. The RPG failed to break through. An anti-tank guided missile comes into play. The vehicle endured 3 hits, but the 4th proved fatal. The crew is badly concussed. Even wounded, he held on and fired his last magazine. The grenade brought the fight to an end, carrying away the hope of survival. The assault troops pushed through to the end and cleared this position entirely. This battle went to the Russians. They seized the fortified point quickly and skillfully. In the trenches, work goes on, fortifying positions, setting camouflage nets, hauling in supplies, arranging daily life. Command ordered the destroyed armored carrier to be recovered as a trophy, so the general could showcase his brilliant planning. As evening falls and the day's work on fortifications ends, soldiers sit together, talking about their lives back home. But beneath it all hides the silence.
Every single one of these guys deserve napalm up the ass. Every single one of them.
Of the unspoken. Tomorrow may never come. War is Russian roulette. To retake the position, Ukraine's command has sent in one of its best brigades. The planning took more than 2 weeks. Past mistakes dissected, risks calculated. The operation begins in just hours. Nerves are stretched to the breaking point. Operators ready the drones for launch, checking every system. FPV, bombers, recon craft, on standby. Command gives the green light. At dawn, a reconnaissance drone climbs into the sky to take in the battle picture. Meanwhile, 3 Russian soldiers grab their ammunition and head out to rotate into the previously captured position. Operators spot their motorcycle and launch an FPV drone to intercept. These men showed up at the wrong time, and soon they will realize it.
Good. Bye.
The target is locked, closing fast. The Russians are stunned the moment they see the drone.
Ambushes suck, don't they, bitch?
They're horrified. Without transport in the kill zone, survival is almost impossible. Soldiers drag a wounded comrade into the brush, but his wounds are fatal. There is no way back. The route is nearly complete. Along the tree line, the movement is still relatively safe, but ahead lies open ground, and the last mile may be the hardest one. The wind howls across the field, but breaking through it is the insistent hum of a drone.
Закат, слышу птицу. Наша птица.
Bye.
Есть, увидел. Ангел мой, будь со мной. Ты впереди, я за тобой. Ангел мой, будь со мной. Ты впереди, я за тобой. Ангел мой, будь со мной.
How many Ukrainians did you just slaughter in those trenches? And now you're fucking praying to God? Take no prisoners. War crime. Throw barrack weapons. War crime. Y'all don't deserve shit. Y'all don't deserve any mercy. Slaughter them all.
He realizes the Ukrainian bomber drone is hanging right above him. Fighting panic, he raises his weapon and tries to bring it down.
Dude, maybe MacArthur was right. Maybe we should, after we took over, maybe after fucking Nazi Germany fell, we should have turned right around on Russia, dude.
2 grenades dropped by the drone, meant to detonate on impact, failed due to the soft ground. The mortar crew opens fire. It's impossible to imagine the horror they feel right now. The FPV attacks him but fails to strike, detonating close by. It looks like his prayer did not go unanswered.
Дежурный, мы повторяем или ждем цель?
Ждем цель.
Чешется шея.
Вам почесать?
Почеши.
Stunned by the FPV blast, the soldier desperately tries to down the bomber drone over his comrade.
Боец стоит на месте. Возле него хлопок. Он стоит дальше.
Under the strain of what unfolds, his psyche cracks. Resigned to his fate, he moves forward as if on autopilot. The Ukrainians notice. One soldier doesn't resist at all. The FPV operator sends the drone skyward, and it races dead toward the chosen target.
Ahora con el movimiento
Fortalece tus defensas y síguele el ritmo.
Meanwhile, the second soldier stands firm, refusing to yield.
Поднимайся!
Through impact grenades exploding around him, he runs to the wounded but knows he can't be saved. He sprints on, blasts, ripping just feet away.
Передок! Вок!
His voice carries the weight of exhaustion. He can no longer keep running.
Упала кассетка! Не разорвалась!
Exhausted and wounded after drone attacks, he barely reaches the tree line, calling for help on the radio.
Куда двигаться?
He calls out, but there is only silence.
Товарищи, он заходит на меня!
Жека, что там, встречаем? Да, говори запись.
Drained, he clings to the tree as if seeking support. But command stays silent. They have already written him off. The drone slowly approaches its target and detonates.
Yeah.
This is the harsh reality of modern war.
Sucks taking no prisoners, huh?
Meanwhile, the ground operation has just begun. After reconnaissance and drone strikes, the artillery joins the fight.
Hell yeah, dude.
Artillery crews methodically pound enemy trenches, wiping out infantry and setting the stage for the landing. The Bradley's engine roars to life. The commander orders the troops to load in. The assault team jumps in, exchanging glances and words of encouragement before the fight. Knowing the artillery strike is only the prelude to an assault, the Russian command launches a recon drone.
Внимание, подготовка к пуску. Пуск по готовности, разрешаю.
Operators scour every sector, eyes fixed on the screens, trying to predict where the strike will come from. They spot a Bradley moving toward their positions. The operator quickly relays the coordinates to the anti-tank crew, the same one that destroyed the evacuation vehicle earlier. They react instantly, loading the launcher into the pickup bed and moving out to the firing position. At the ambush site, they quickly deploy the anti-tank guided missile system. Everything's ready. Now, they wait for the Bradley. The operators spot the target on the horizon and open fire. The missile slams into the Bradley's side, but it keeps rolling. Inside, a heavy thud and a shake. That's the power of American armor. The Bradley doesn't stop. It charges toward the landing zone, laying down fire on enemy positions. The Russians are in shock at the speed of the breakthrough. Their infantry hugs the ground as the Bradley's 25mm cannon tears through everything in its path. The Bradley's mission is complete. The ramp lowers. Soldiers rush out, scanning the battlefield, seeing how the artillery has torn up the trenches before jumping straight into the enemy lines.
I don't get why. I mean, is it because flamethrower operators were always targeted or some shit? Because, dude, I'd be using the shit out of fire and all this, especially in trenches. I'd be incendiary devices as much as you can, man. Burn it all.
Гранату туда, ребят. Цинку. Давай,
See, the Ukrainians fucking give them chance to surrender. The Russians don't. Way too lenient on the Russians.
Схватайся, выйди. Ты закидываешь гранату? Граната! Сдавайся, боёб!
The assault on the trenches, where men come face to face with hell itself.
Сюда, один. Гранаты!
I mean, I'm an idiot, so I don't know. But is there like a way to douse an area with some sort of flammable stuff? Just douse the area with flammable, and then just ignite it. Get all those motherfuckers quickly. Don't risk this shit. Don't risk these guys. Obviously, I don't know shit though. I mean, these guys are literally fucking war-hardened people. I don't know shit.
Як я його не заїбасив? Там, як я його не заїбасив? 2 метри! Він є! Кому, блядь, 2 метри від нас!
The enemy is so close. Their voices are louder than bullets.
Присядь. Низом, сука, во! Через 2 метри від нас! Следующий укоп! Каже, свої, блядь, до мене, свої, блядь, туди, блядь!
Do you want insights into larger player activities? The big players are the whales of the market, and it's usually
The Russian command deploys snipers to disrupt the advance of Ukrainian assault troops from a safe distance. They quickly take position and select a target for the attack.
Да, все принял. Беру левого. Как принял?
The snipers act with cold professionalism, taking down the assault trooper.
Дивись, десь діти снайпер.
Да, принял. Уходим.
After engaging the target, the snipers change position. The assault troops have realized who's firing at them. Coordinates are relayed from the trenches. The mortar crew reacts instantly. Rounds fired at the suspected sniper position.
Постріл.
The mortar explodes nearby, just a few feet away. But by some miracle, they survive.
Давай.
The snipers stay in the fight, taking up a more favorable position.
Туди далі рухаємося.
He was beside you moments ago. Now you step over him and press on. Emotions are set aside. One task remains. Destroy the enemy.
Налево мы не дочистую, и направо тоже. Давай налево сейчас. Туда гранату прокинь, да. Влево, вправо. Влево. Граната! Я пустый, перезарядка. А, блядь.
Russian drones lift into the sky to see what's happening in the trenches. The Ukrainians move forward like a bulldozer, crushing everything in their path. FPV...
Can you make like powdered thermite? Does it have to be all bundled together in order for it to burn? Or can you like take a drone and then spray thermite all over an area and then somehow light it?
Drones take off one after another, heading into the trench carnage to suppress the Ukrainian assault. Snipers take up favorable positions, waiting for the drones to draw the enemy's attention away. These drones are the only chance to hold the assault until the tanks and artillery arrive.
Швидше, братан. Не затримуйся так.
The buzzing sound of rotors is already echoing above the trenches.
FPV-шка. Давай дальше двигайся, мы в опасной зоне. FPV-шка!
One drone was taken down, but they don't know that a whole swarm is already heading their way.
А? И FPV не видите, нормально можно сесть. Привет, там где калаши. Мы пока закрепили тут. Сейчас. Чисто. Ми дійшли з скандалом до правого тупіка. Тут закріпились. Як прийняв?
Плюс, пинкуйте ту сторону.
Венгер, найс. Чув снайпера роботу. Тут велика стрілкотня йде.
The moment he reported the situation over the radio, a Russian FPV drone flew straight into their trench.
Is hand blown off?
Ah!
Yep.
Есть, вот.
Вижу.
Damn, man.
Братан, нормально. Что-то еще болит, кроме руки?
Нога.
Нога? Где второй турникет?
Вот, вот здесь.
Meanwhile, Putin sits his fat ass up in Moscow right now.
Здесь вот. Вот, 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 вот.
Нет, тут понял, где первый? Первый.
Вот, вот.
Плюс. Что-то еще болит или нет?
Я не знаю, вроде
Every authoritarian on the planet needs to get the Mussolini treatment.
Состояние стабильное. Кровотечение остановлено.
У тебя 2 турникета всего?
4. 5 даже, один еще в аптечке. Я постараюсь сам доскакать. Ну, типа, с помощью. Сука. А тяжело, бля, двигаться даже с тампонадой.
The Russians, realizing they are losing their position, send in 2 turtle tanks as reinforcements. The Ukrainian drone operators were already prepared for such a scenario. The first turtle tank was immobilized by a hit to the driver's hatch. The second tank nearly reached the position, but the FPV drones turned the tide of the battle. As you can see, the first drone missed its mark and failed to penetrate the turtle tank's armor. However, the second drone directly hits the ammo.
Good.
The threat has been neutralized and the assault continues.
Your erection will be as strong as
Why
when
do I
you were
keep
in your
getting these
teens,
fucking
and you can
commercials?
last up to 7 times.
Ти рухаєшся зараз з Даяною на Педро.
Заходите, забираєте 300-х.
Забираємо чи забирає він?
Забирай він, ти залишаєшся там.
Все, взяла воду і цинк. І собі БК.
The number of wounded on the Ukrainian side keeps growing.
Все, побежали.
Супер. Там пиздец.
Ну так стоять не варіант, важкі.
Пішли.
The assault drags on. The Ukrainians cleared more than half, but now they're stuck. A swarm of drones keeps pressing them, not giving them a single breath.
Це я. Ми цинк принесли.
Плюс-плюс, ми вже в окопах.
Лови.
Где 300-е? Сзади. Давай.
Що, я зроблю?
Даяна поможе.
The medic checks the soldier. Seems like nothing critical.
Все рано штанішки підуть.
Да, де вона? О, і одна зверху, бачиш?
Дайте.
Мала, ховай.
Тільки ховайся.
Давай, маленький, давай. Давай, Гарик, я крию.
It was heading straight for them, but they were ready. While Ukrainians are fighting off drones in the trenches, Russian artillery arrives to support its troops. It locks on target, unloads its ammunition into the designated grid, and quickly leaves the position to avoid Ukrainian counter-battery fire and strike drones. Heavy shelling and drone raids, they're still holding, waiting for their own drones to join in.
Всі цілі.
Да.
Все. Працюємо. Поки немає чим заряджатись, то я піду до 300.
Братуха, не треба сюди дивитися, блядь. Дивись туди, поки.
Повернися. Перевірю.
Зліва.
Легенда, того кровотечі нема. Все.
And here comes the support, a swarm of Ukrainian drones buzzing over the Russian troops.
Просто зоопарк нахуй літаючий, просто які хочеш FPV.
Ukrainian drone pilots, gods of their craft. They hit the Russians even where no drone should have made it through.
Це наші працювали?
Да. Плюс-плюс.
Ми цілі плюс-плюс. Яка обстановка, що відбувається, де пі... Давай попробуємо добити.
Пошли.
As soon as the enemy artillery falls silent, they move out to clear the last sector. They fire into the burrow where the radio crackled. Looking inside, he sees a body torn apart by a drone. There were 3 in the hole. One ran for the open field. Another vanished into the next.
Убил! Дебил!
Хорош. Заебался?
Живой был.
А-22-31. Заряд штатный. Прицел.
Готовности 1 снаряд, огонь.
The artillery crew is ordered to hold the Ukrainians, to buy time for the rest of their troops to fall back and avoid capture.
Откат, давай. Пока дым, давай.
Artillery pounds the ground, forcing the assault troops to crawl for cover. But the Ukrainian drone pilots, they won't let anyone go.
Может, какие-то добыток остался.
After the artillery falls silent, they move in to clear the last trench.
Чисто.
Чисто?
Да.
Все, это конец?
Да.
Окоп зачищен.
The assault troops have retaken the strong point and report that the area is clear. Drone operators are pursuing the Russian soldiers who tried to flee. They had nowhere to run, caught in the open. In modern warfare, an open field is a death sentence. The operators carry out their duties with cold precision. This is an enemy who came to their land to kill and therefore must be neutralized. Those Russians had a chance to lay down arms in the trenches, but they chose another path.
El épico juego de acción online War Thunder viene a machacar tus aburridos días entre semana. El legendario.
Some soldiers retreating jumped onto motorcycles, thinking it would save them and get them out of the kill zone faster. But they can't. Ukrainian drone pilots strike them down with precision. Some got lucky. They abandoned their motorcycles and ran on.
You see that
The
shit
Ukrainians
was
leave no
flying.
chances even to abandoned equipment. Everything is burned. The survivors find a shattered building and descend into its basement, the only place left to hide from the drones. They call for an evacuation vehicle and wait for nightfall, hoping to leave under the cover of darkness. Before dusk could fall, an armored personnel carrier arrived at sunset. The infantry boarded up. It seemed they were finally safe. Knowing a group of Russian soldiers was hiding, waiting for extraction, the Ukrainians launched their drones, sweeping every field in search of the vehicle. An armored carrier packed with infantry. That's them for sure. The Russians fire from every weapon trying to bring down the drone, but it's useless. The vehicle's hit and burning. They leap from the burning carrier, desperate to stay alive, knowing a swarm of Ukrainian drones is already closing in. The armored vehicle is caught. Drones hit it one after another, tearing it apart piece by piece. Like a ghost, it keeps rolling. No crew, no control, just metal rolling toward its end.
Wow.
The enemy's wiped out. The Russians left many behind on the field. Under the cover of night, a Bradley rolls into the captured position, dropping off supplies and ammo, pulling out the wounded and the fallen. The price paid for this stronghold, human lives torn from their paths and broken by war. Despite the propaganda, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians have already given their lives defending their land. Each of them became part of a story written in blood. Let this film be a reminder of the price the Ukrainian people pay in the resistance against Russian aggression. It's the story of a people who chose not to surrender, even when the world grew tired of watching. If you want more episodes, please like and leave comments. This will be a great incentive to release a new video. See you soon.
Well, war's fucked, man. And I know I'm sitting here getting all emotional and screaming and saying stupid ass shit. I've never been in this situation. I've never been in war, and God, it's a horrific thing, man. Sucks, but I'm gonna call it.